Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
It's glad to have you back. I'm glad to have you back. Take a seat on the couch right there. Your copay is accepted. That's right. It's therapy time. The couch is friendly. We're going to talk about all the same crap that we're going to talk about, or that we talked about last week, that we're going to talk about this week, that we're going to talk about next week. And to the end of freaking time, it feels like it's the C3 Panthers podcast, where we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. And it's the French Revolution, baby. Nobody is safe in Panther Nation. Bryce Young needs to be held accountable. Mugs are trying to meet at the BMW store and fight it out over Josh Norris and be like, look, there's a guy who has my opinion. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're here for you. Hop in the car. We're heading to Bank of America. We're playing the Atlanta Falcons this week. Yucky, yuckity, yuck. They're dirty birds, but we're 1-12. Ugh. Fuck them motherfuckers. I hate the Falcons, Cody Lashney. I hate them. But right now, it's tough being a Panthers fan. That's why I'm locking arms with you, my wheelman, my brother. Them streets are tough these days. They're coming after you. You know what? You are on the front lines of the revolution.
Yeah, man. I'm out here fighting the good fight, man. You know, when I need to. I love a little bit of confrontation, as you all might know about me. But listen, nothing changes, right? I'm going to stay upbeat about, if anything, being on the best Panther podcast that there is, the C3 Panthers Podcast, because there is nowhere in the world I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than sitting here with y'all, talking to my boys, talking about this Carolina Panther football team, regardless of the record. And we have a ton to talk about tonight. We're going to have this continued discussion about Bryce. Is Thomas Brown already fired?
Is his wife deleting her Twitter account? Yep.
No, absolutely. Is Derrick Brown all of a sudden the superstar that we've always wanted him to be? I don't know, man. I kind of think so. All that and much more. The Panthers moving out of Wofford. We have a great show in store tonight for all the C3 faithful. Tony, you know him and love him. It's our guy, Drew, Joey the Blind Panther, C. Cody 13, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, Josh Dyson, Kristen Ledane. What's up, Kristen? My boy Strats, Outlaw Jackson Bow, Patty Grimes, Richards Outdoor World and Photography, Roosevelt Mongo, the real C3 AP, and that boy Tim Estes. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Get your calls into the Cat Calls line. We'll feature opinions about all the latest news. I had a really good line to go, and then I just lost it. CK. Fuck. It was in my head. I had the best lineup, and then I started saying the phone number over and over again. I don't know what it is right now, and it's going to come back to me in just a moment. But CK, it's wonderful having you here on the podcast. Oh, here it is. I knew it was going to come back. It would have been so much cooler if I executed. Just like if the Panthers would have executed a fucking passing play or something.
Call that a missed opportunity.
No kidding. Chris Tabor said the Carolina Panthers could benefit from an extra day off. C3 Panthers Podcast. No days off, baby. We're back Tuesday night.
Strong.
That was it. Bro, he was like, you know what? You could have benefited from a night off. Then your delivery would have been better. CK, the Panthers stink.
Breaking news. We're still bad. Nothing has changed. That's it. I mean, listen. You asked me.
I cast over
when we first got on this. Have you been keeping up with the team? And in all honesty, I have to take a break, dude. It's just exhausting. Like, it's just so disappointing to have to be a fan of a team that just feels like you want them to win more than they do. And I know that's not true. I know these guys have families that they want to take care of, and they have their own name that they need to make sure they're lifting up. This is an opportunity for generational wealth in their families, and a lot of times being on a team like this is going to basically assure that you're not going to have an opportunity to be on a team that's going to pay you that type of money. And it's just it's an unfortunate reality. And I'm just over here enjoying life and not sweating over what's going to happen. Now we know the Panthers are out.
I feel like that is like the deciding factor. I'm so tired of this mathematical gymnastics that we have played for the last 5 years of why shit is relevant. This is the least relevant season.
100%. No,
it shouldn't be. It shouldn't have been at all. It's complete disaster. We brought in Frank Reich to prevent exactly this from happening. From complete catastrophe. We didn't need Frank Reich to go out there and be 10 and whatever. We were looking for stability, experience, incremental improvement, and the ushering along of a rookie, and the exact opposite had happened. So it's been bad, and I'm tired of the mental mathematical gymnastics that make us look for a playoff picture. And this is the most bleak it has been in my mind.
Yeah, it's I honestly couldn't tell you a time that feels worse than what we're dealing with right now.
TK, I asked my trainer guys, trainer, that makes it sound cool. One of my best friends, I asked him, he's a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and he is a hardcore. Like, he's kind of one of us, you know what I'm saying? It's like kind of wild where he lives, where nobody, he's like, oh, Jags, and he goes all out by himself. Nobody cheering with him. He by himself. I asked him today, I said, what's been your worst season? Like, when were you at your downest part? And he went to Urban Meyer. And I mean, I get that, but I feel like we're worse. Because Urban Meyer at least was the fucking problem.
Well, but I think we have less wins than Urban Meyer did, right? Like,
He did. Yeah. I'm just saying, I mean, I feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars have been at the bottom a few times. They've picked number one a couple of times in the last 20 years or 15 years.
Right.
And that was I was trying to get a parallel of where we're at. And I was like, Tony, it didn't make me feel better.
Look, I've been getting into so many fights on Twitter because I maintain that the Panthers have never been down as bad as they are right now in their entire history. Everybody loves to tell me how bad 2010 was. And maybe as a team, when you incorporate offense and defense, maybe 2010 was worse. But I think when you look at all things in context, a lot of people said 2001 as well, which is
right. I mean, there's only two answers to the question that it could
be. But I'm saying, considering how many holes that we have on the team right now, that we don't have a number one overall pick, considering David Tepper and all the things that we've been through, all those things in context, bro, you can't convince me this isn't the worst time for the Carolina Panthers in their history, man. It's bad.
Call into the show at 252-228-5098. Tell us why 2010, 2001, I guess, whatever the year before Peppers, I should remember. I'm long in the tooth, folks. Tell us why those seasons were worse. Tell us why we should be more hopeful today than we were in 2010 before we had drafted Cam Newton. I'd love to hear it, and I'm not fighting it. Like, I mean, I'm ready to hear. I need a reason to believe that this team is positioned better than it is right now, because right now, to me, guys, I don't know if better is tomorrow. And look, the Carolina Panthers have to play the Atlanta Falcons this week, another division rival. And is another loss. I mean, like, what are you going to see in another loss that really changes your opinions? We've got all that. Tabor talking about that. Guys, let's jump into tonight's show. Rookie QBs thrive as Bryce continues to dive. G-Baby in the comments right away said he ain't fucking with this show because of this. He's still around there. I love G-Baby.
Am I unfair with my titling, y'all? Y'all can tell me.
It's a good title for this age of life, the internet. And you know what? Fuck anybody who says it's not a good title. We are scratching and clawing to find something to talk about as the Panthers are 1-12. Will Levis with a Monday Night Football comeback. The first thing I woke up this morning to, and I went to bed before the games were over, and somebody tagged me and they said, "Welcome to Will Levis #1 Panther fans coming back on Twitter," or something. Like, it was a fun tweet. It was meant to be fun. Will Levis with a comeback win. Tommy DeVito on a tear that's going to make Brock Purdy jealous at this point. And hey, CJ Stroud struggles against a great defense. That's it. Go ahead. Go, Cody. Go.
Yes, sir. Look, before we jump into the show, I want to make sure I don't miss these incredible super chats from our incredible super fans, man. How about the man Diesel Skills, the brand ambassador, has been a loyal member of the community for 11 months. Shout out to Don, the homie Diesel Skills. Did a space right before the show today. We appreciate their continued allegiance and participation, man. Eric with the $5 says, at least Cam Newton came out of 2010. What came out of this season? That's a damn good question. And damn, Tony, we're off to a great start with these love bombs, man. Jerry with $9.99 says, what percentage of Bryce's mistakes do you blame on Bryce? I put 10% making him a good I put 10% making him a good quarterback. Lawrence had 17 interceptions. Bryce has 8. Bryce leads the league in short passes of under 6 yards. I mean, this is a question of the season, man. You know, what do we feel about
perfect segue into Bryce? And
100%.
Sadly, guys, I bemoaned about how the Carolina Panthers, until they had a franchise quarterback, that would be the conversation about getting their franchise quarterback. We got the guy that is proclaimed as the proclaimed franchise quarterback, and now the continued discussion until it's not is Bryce Young the franchise fucking quarterback. It's exhausting, but this headline comes out, and I won't say I don't like the headline. This didn't come directly from Thomas Brown, but let's talk about Bryce Young. Bryce Young, among the least performers of rookie quarterbacks this year.
Yeah. And
we can continue to debate why that is the case, but it is the case. CK, as we get this great super chat talking about how much this is on Bryce, we are starting to see Panther fans more and more become questioning about Bryce Young as the franchise quarterback. As you are 12 or 13, whatever the hell we are now into it, how do you feel as a Panther fan and as the Panthers organization about this question about how much it is Bryce or how much it isn't? Sorry, putting that on you.
No, I think that I don't think that in the history of the NFL, I'm going to go ahead and just work in hyperbole here. I just don't know that there's been a rookie QB that has had such a bad year, not just from themselves, but like from the perspective of the team is doing so bad and is so heavily scrutinizing the rookie QB. I get it. He's not performing to the level in which we traded up for him, and that's not his fault, right? I'm not saying his performance is not his fault, but the fact that we expected so much from him because it was a trade up and we got into this situation where it's a we need to win now type of a thing. That's not his fault that the Panthers did that. Sure. So that part, I have a hard time putting a tremendous amount on him. His expectations were sky high. And anything that fell short of a sky high, like a number 1 overall draft pick, like you need to show us you're a top 10 QB in the league, was going to be a disappointment to the majority of people who weren't, Bryce fans. Let's be real about it.
I disagree with all of this, by the way, CK.
I do believe that he deserves criticism. I just don't put, I would say it's equal across the board. At the beginning of the year, he was at the bottom of the list of people I would criticize. Now I think he's equally involved as far as criticism, as far as why is this team not performing well, and just as much as the offensive line, just as much as the receivers, just as much as the coaching staff. It's just as much Bryce's fault as it is everybody else's. It's no more his fault than it is anybody else's. And that's the argument right now, is that because it's equal, it's going to be worse for him.
I agree with that in part 100%. What I don't agree with is the idea that we needed it to be perfect, that we needed success right away. And I understand, look, there was a true optimism surrounding anybody who talked about the change, right? The newness that came with a new coaching staff, a new quarterback, and all of those things. CK, the only thing I differ with you on that whole entire perspective, which I agree 100, is in fact, my criticism is not even about Bryce as a prospect and what he could be or what he is. It's just that at this point, it's been so bad systemically that I can't, I feel like we're just scratching now at reasons to believe. And look, I didn't need wins. And this probably is a good segue, Cody, to this discussion about Chris Tabor has announced that he will not, or he doesn't think that sitting Bryce Young is the correct answer, right? That he's going to be able to learn. And there is a real argument to this, and a good one. I mean, it's not a unintelligent argument, and one that I have been behind from the beginning, which was to start Bryce Young regardless and just let him take the lumps. I never foresaw it being this bad. But this is what the only point, Cody, that I disagree with CK in is that it's the success of this team that is problematic. Is like, for me, it's not the record, it's the team that I watch.
Yeah, it's a team that you watch. And listen, I've been fighting this battle all year, right? Me and Greg, shout out to the Bat Daddy.
The OG. He's the originator of this shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it goes without saying that the offensive line is bad, and we know that. It goes without saying that the wide receivers are bad. We also know that.
Yeah, duh.
It goes without saying that the play calling is bad. We know that too. But one of the things that I vehemently disagree with is that it's impossible to do any kind of evaluation of Bryce Young's rookie season because of those mitigating circumstances around him. To me, it's very wishy-washy. It's very picking and choosing of who is and isn't allowed to be criticized on this football team.
And you've been consistent with this by talking about if you're going to be that critical of Frank Reich.
Right.
And I mean, it's I mentioned this in the last podcast, Cody, or maybe 2 ago, is that I understand the mitigating factors. but to be oblivious to any evaluation, to just say it's like
It's
to
just
wash
fun.
it away.
It's a glass half full optimism. Like you can choose to be optimistic, and that's fine.
Would
But
you
you can
say
also
that
look at
if
it for what
all
it
those
is.
circumstances were bad and he thrived, right? Like, would you be like, oh, terrible offensive line, terrible offensive receivers, we can't judge Bryce Young, he's doing great?
Right, you wouldn't say that then. So it's the shoe's down on the other foot. Yeah, again, and a lot of
But
people
hold on.
this as saying like Bryce will be bad in the future because he's bad right now.
But
No
to be
one's
fair,
saying that.
the argument that we're talking about there is also true. If you have a good quarterback go to a really good team, we still see it with Brock Purdy, right? People are saying you can't really evaluate him because you don't know how much of it's scheme, how much of it is the talent around him. So, I mean, I disagree with that statement to say it's. But here, I agree to the point where saying that there is going to be some evaluation,
Right?
But you can't. What most people in the chat and what most people who are down on Bryce Young right now, their belief is that it's done. There is no coming back from what we've seen. This has answered the question about what Bryce Young is, and you can't do that. Like you legitimately cannot do that.
How about let's start with that, CK? Hold on before you respond, Cody. Let's start with that. Is that the question? Tabor says, "Look, putting him out there, you're going to learn." You have mentioned in several podcasts before to like he's not learning in these situations, some different things like this. How do we look at what you've seen from Bryce Young? And not just how do we look at overall, but are you seeing any concerns about look, we saw the towel over the head with Cam. We saw the body language shit like this and this. I don't see Bryce Young looking better from week to week, mentally, physically, this and that. How do we take that in, CK, as you're saying? Like, and you're right. You're right. I'm ready. I've already said, look, give this kid 3 years. Like you've already made your bed, you're laying in it. You got to do it. You put the assets up there. I don't care. I'm not invested in this bust or not. But are you seeing this guy get better at all?
As of now, I don't think there's evidence that he's getting better. There was at the beginning of the year. All the way up until he got his first win against the one that most people would prefer that we had taken at number one if we were going to be at number one, and that is CJ Stroud and the Texans. Since then, it's been a downward spiral. I think after that moment, we've seen a couple of things. Number one, we've started to see we had some bad games. We saw Frank Reich take over play calling again. Yeah, so Bryce lost consistency there, right? Then Frank gets fired and we lost consistency there. We have offensive linemen going down like they're just made out of paper.
How do you keep any confidence here? Right.
Misses
a throw or two.
Right. But at the same time, I mean, as people have talked about, right, he's not thriving in bad situations. And the thing that we know about the NFL is you're going to have bad situations. We see Patrick Mahomes right now. Patrick Mahomes is having a down year, not because he's not good, but because the talent around him and the team around him is failing him.
He's still throwing for like 4,000 yards.
Right. He's still throwing and making things happen. It's worthy of the criticism. Everything that we've said about Bryce Young, anybody has said is worthy of that criticism. I would like to see what Bryce looks like when we have a competent game plan,
right?
And when we have wide talent that's going to be able to elevate maybe his ability. Because I think I still wholeheartedly believe one of the biggest issues we're going to have is one of the things that we're going to talk about is his downfield accuracy. And I feel like we had a speedier wide receiver. A lot of those balls are easy catches. But that's still on Bryce. He's got to adapt to what he's got in front of him.
So Cody from the Panthers Wire podcast, they said, and it's a small clip. It's not even a real direct quote. Not podcast. Panthers Wire. They want Thomas Brown wants Bryce Young to take more accountability. And this was a quote from a quote. It's from like Schefter or something like this. I feel like if this was a direct quote from a press conference, it would have made more headlines here. What do you make of Thomas Brown and this discussion of Bryce Young and accountability?
Well, I mean, I think that if our offensive coordinator is willing to say that Bryce needs to have more accountability, then our fans should be comfortable saying that as well. And Kristen put it in the chat earlier, like to a point, it seems like coddling. Because, you know, when we're gonna talk about other quarterbacks tonight and how many wins they've had and how many big time moments they've had, or if you've seen flashes from any of them. And the fact of the matter is, you look at a guy like Tommy DeVito, who is playing very well right now behind the trash offensive line. Yeah, and he's looking better than Bryce is. Just about every rookie quarterback this year is looking better than Bryce. And my thing is, it's one thing to say you need to see better weapons around him. I 100% agree. We're all in believing of that. But the fact of the matter is that we now have more questions. We all sort of doubted his arm talent coming through the draft, and now we're probably doubting it if just as much, if not more, than we were before. Before we never thought that we would be questioning his ability to read defenses and go through his progressions. And yet now that's something that we are wondering about. And is it just a byproduct of him having to move so fast because he doesn't trust the line in front of him? Like,
I want to push back on that one point, though.
Which one?
About the reading defenses and not being able to. I think what we have recognized, or what we're learning, is that even if you are advanced in those aspects of the game, right, which is like the star student, that when you go from high school to college, when you go from college to graduate school, that the stakes are different. So yeah, he might be the most mentally adept and at those things. I don't think what we've seen from him has been a lack of that. I think what we have, the problem that we have as not just Panther fans, but football fans, and again, why I hate you fucking draft nerds, is listening to your bullshit about how that's not going to be a problem or be a challenge. Here's the thing, is he turns out to be a college player who is very mentally capable of going into the pros. But that does not mean that the transition from the college to the pros is still not a transition for him. And that's what this is not a slight on Bryce Young. What I'm trying to say is that but the draft fucking nerds have tried to convince us that that's still not a transition, even though that's your strength. And it is. He's got to deal with these big ass fast motherfuckers that are as smart and big and capable of it. So it's just not enough. Like, he's just going to walk in there and be like, oh, I can X and O you bitches to death. It's not enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. And again, these are all questions that we're going to be talking about and wondering for a long time. Let me read this clip from the Panthers Wire. And this is, we're talking about Thomas Brown.
I think it was a quote from Albert Breer or something like that, or
It goes, Bryce Young didn't look much better Sunday, going 13 of 36 for 137 yards and a 48 passer rating. But the Panthers are trying to do more to get him going. With quarterbacks coach Josh McCown now gone, Jim Caldwell is in the quarterback room every day, and interim coach Chris Tabor has pushed in colorful language for a tougher approach with the quarterback. The good news is that, as I've heard it, offensive coordinator Thomas Brown was already an advocate for pushing more accountability with the team's number one overall pick. My question to you boys and everyone else in the chat is, what does accountability even mean? Because it sort of sounds like the same rift that's going on between Panther fans was kind of going on in the building too, right? Like it seems to me like there were probably a lot of people that were like, look, Bryce can only do so much because of everything that's going on around him. Where it seems like there was another faction that was like, no, there's meat on the bone that Bryce is leaving and it's not executing those plays when there are plays to be had. That tells me that if our coaching staff is thinking that way, then there must have been a whole nother portion of the staff that was seemingly not holding him accountable. I'm assuming that all those dudes are the ones that were fired.
CK, don't listen to this, man.
I think you're
here
off
is
base,
what's going
Tony.
on. No,
You're
I
off
can
base.
piece this exactly together since the C3 Panthers podcast is the longest running Panthers podcast. We're here every Tuesday night, post games, Friday free for all. Plug. But if you remember when Thomas Brown first got his mic podium moment about week 6 or 7, he said this. He said it was right after, actually, I think it was right after the Seahawks game where Dalton had gone in there and thrown for 60 attempts or whatever the fuck it was.
58.
And they were worried about Bryce's ankle still, right? It was like, should he play? Should he's not? He then watched Andy Dalton in the game, in practice, and then I think he ended up starting the next week after this comment. But Thomas Brown gets on the microphone and he says he saw a more assertive vocal play. He saw Andy Dalton barking, essentially, right? Is like bringing this, not a dog. I don't like to use that. It's like, because I don't think just because Bryce has a mild manner tempered,
Yeah, he don't got that dog in him.
I don't like that. I don't like that discussion.
That dog.
But like, is that we're in the huddle. He's fucking calling this out with an assertiveness. This is Thomas Brown that said this in the week after. What I think whoever this was is Adam Schefter or Albert Breer. They're the same to me, basically, is that they saw that national quote about assertiveness, this and that, wanting more accountability. And then as the season progresses in this terrible way, you then weave that quotation in here to be a source. And that's what it feels like to me. It's like, is what has Bryce Young not taken accountability for? No, I think we're still going back to week 5 or 6 or whatever the fuck it was when Thomas Brown said, hey, him being more in the huddle saying, you do this, you do, and this kind of confidence, assertiveness that then leads the pack is what we're trying to build in him. And now this is why you listen to the C3 Panthers podcast, CK.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's
we have got all the that take that goes back to week 5.
Obviously it's only C3 at this point, man. You got all the listen, we've broken enough things down to where here Cody was right about his sources, right? We learned that last week, or last year, with the whole situation with Steve Wilkes and Matt Rule and what have you. Tony's over here able to pull things from week 5 because he's got a photographic memory being a professor. Dude's got some Rain Man qualities, I think.
But honestly, CK, what does he mean by taking accountability? Right? That if anything, it's going to be what Cody is over here saying with the coddling. And I don't think that is. We're with an organization that just fired their coach. Is anybody getting fucking coddled here? Sure, you might be nursing the young man along, just like a million Panther fans are, by saying, oh, all of these other reasons is why it's not good. But have we heard or seen anything from the offensive coordinator? I think this is a searching moment by the media.
Right.
And I think the people
you're 100% wrong on this.
I think the people that are going to get called out in the wrong are Panthers Wire. No, Panthers Wire should write about this. Whoever it is, Albert Breer or this is broad strokes.
Yeah, but Tony, I really feel like he was the golden boy. It's like I told you before. His mental abilities, they relied too much on that, and they thought that he was going to be so advanced and so beyond.
We did.
But okay, but we don't make
You're
the
right,
decision
but we're
for the
not.
Panthers.
We don't run the Panthers.
They're the ones who did. So
right.
more
they
so,
did.
they did.
You're
okay.
Right.
So when you drop him in this offense, and you're expecting everybody to be able to play better because of Bryce, well, that hasn't happened. So now, in order to make it seem like, well, it's not like we got our evaluation wrong on Bryce. It's everything else around him is a problem, and we need to try to continue to build a better situation for him, which again is true. But a lot of these things are Bryce going through rookie mistakes. And as a coach, you have to make sure that you are teaching your quarterback what they are doing wrong. And it feels to me like there were enough people in this organization that felt like that wasn't happening. And given everything that we saw about Frank Reich, him being this mild-mannered
He's so
guy,
nice. He's so nice. I told you at the beginning he was too nice.
Right. So why is it hard to believe that maybe there was a part of this coaching staff that truly didn't want to hold Bryce accountable? I think it's very believable.
Follow-up question. I got a follow-up question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, we saw Panther fans like us, and we know our C3 super fans for $1.99 that support the show, but also these crazy ass people that still rock with us through all these times.
Awesome.
They called out this. Bryce was making a lot of those checks early on, right? They said things like this: is Bryce Young was making these checks to plays that we didn't like as Panther fans, like, oh, we're going to check out this, we're going to go to this. Have the Panther fans, there has to be a degree, if they're talking about accountability here in the organization, are Panther fans ultimately wrong in asking questions about those moments?
No, I mean,
and they were on it before this. 6 weeks ago, they were saying that.
Well, remember, before Frank Reich was fired, Frank Reich defended Bryce for checking into the bubble screen that went to DJ Chark. Well,
he didn't like. Nobody liked.
Right, but
the receiver didn't like it. The coach didn't like it. But Bryce
but look, here's the deal. They asked Frank Reich, and Frank Reich kind of put the blame on the DJ Chark.
Yeah,
and they interviewed DJ.
Back.
Yeah, and DJ Chark was like, "Nah, the original play call was the play call to make." And Tony, that goes to my evidence about the coddling. I think that there were a contingent of these coaches that felt like, I mean, again, this is like too strong a wording. I know it's not exactly this, but Bryce could do no wrong. Bryce is rookie. You have to go easy on him. It's beyond his control, rather than holding him accountable for the things that he should be accountable for. That's going to bring
the storyline is exaggerative. I think it is not true of the moment, as in I think that it is Schefter pulling, or whoever the fuck it was, pulling a thread from week 3 to, you know what I'm saying, which we're all looking for now when we're trying to
say that about every news story that's broken about the Panthers.
Sure. I think this is a national story that was not rooted, though, in realness.
Okay, maybe so.
And I think this is that ultimately, I would just come down to this, is that Bryce has, first of all, never shunted accountability. And ultimately, this is the Panthers are so bad is everybody is culpable. Let's go to these.
Yeah. So look, Kristen LeDane. Hey, you know what? This is your job, CK. What am I doing? You're on the clock, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't tell my mother about this good Italian girl.
All right. Let me get my soundboard going here.
Sleeping.
Yeah, you caught me sleeping. Sorry, guys.
That's right. We're going to wait.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, we have Kristen Ledane, who has become a C3 Superfan member for $1.99. She's joined one of the most elite clubs on the internet. So much so, how many members do we have, Tony?
I mean, like 170, hopefully, because Mr. Stratz, the fucking patron saint. Yeah. Come on, Italian ladies.
If you've got one of 170 cars, you've got a pretty valuable object in your possession. Kristen Ledane has just become extremely valuable, always has been, but certainly a part of an elite club. Thank you for your membership.
Appreciate you, Kristen. And then Mr. Stratz with the $20 love bomb says several sources said Reich would call out Young for mistakes during team-wide film reviews, as he did other players early in the season, but backed off in recent weeks with Young's confidence in mind. So they didn't want to go too hard on him. They didn't want to ruin his confidence. And Tony, this is what we've been talking about. No, but Tony, we've been talking about this in regards to benching him or not. And are you going to break him and hurt his confidence in the long term by continuing to trot him out there? That's been a big part of this discussion and conversation. And wherever you fall on the issue, if anything, it tells me that same conversation is being had amongst members of our staff.
That's the scary fucking part to it.
Right.
The only thing I don't agree with that is that they were trying to shade him in the early parts and then they backed off of it. Like, ultimately, I can't feel like there is a room where you have such an important investment where you just be like, you're the fucking problem. And then you're like, oh, 2 weeks later, you're like, you know what? Maybe we're too hard on him. I think if anything, there is an argument, and go check the fucking C3 receipts about this. Frank Reich was just too nice to everybody, to the coaches, to the fucking players, to this. I think that is, if I had one weakness about Frank Reich, I think it is he doesn't have dog.
Yeah, he ain't got that dog in him.
Right? It's like people were telling me about that about Bryce. My friend was saying this today, not a Panthers fan. He's like, he don't got that dog. You don't got that dog. And I was like, maybe I think he could, and it's just not in the way that you see it, right? Like where I have to beat your, you know what I'm saying? Like I had to yell and scream. I believe he does. I don't know if I believe Frank Reich did. All right, what's next? Because this is wild, and you want to talk about this. This is the best story. How are we 45 minutes in the show, and now we're talking about the first headline that should have been. Tell me what's up here.
Yeah. So we'll talk about this, and then we'll get into some cat calls. I know we have some eager beavers.
Yeah. Now we got to sprinkle them in.
Yeah. So listen, man, this happened shortly after the game. Our guy Season on Twitter, we've known him for a while. He put out a tweet: Thomas Brown should be fired tomorrow. And then in a sense deleted tweet and a since deleted account. So this account is no longer in existence, right? Jessica A. Brown, the wife of Thomas Brown, said, we are fired. We just have to stay behind because someone has to call plays. If you guys know someone else to do it the next 4 weeks, give David Tepper a holler, as if this is fun for us. Wow. And man, there was a lot of opinions about this. A lot of people thinking that she kind of threw her husband under the bus by saying a little too much.
She told no lies, bro.
Oh, she told no lies. But yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We appreciate the honesty. What do you guys make of that? That the only reason Thomas Brown isn't fired is just because they need someone to call plays? Are you going to tell me there isn't another man on this supposed all-star roster of a coaching staff. There's not one other motherfucker to call plays. That's kind of wild to me, to be honest.
There might not be one that wants to take the reins.
Nah, she's right, dude. All these motherfuckers are fired at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It don't matter if you come out and orchestrate the best offense. And you don't come out if Thomas Brown goes into David Tepper's offense and makes the best fucking be like, look at my color-coded neon sign fucking playbook that I built from McVay to whatever. No, these bitches are all gone. She's right. She did not say a single word that was false. And you know what? Fuck everybody for trying to push her off the internet and even throw shade on him, because ultimately this is Thomas Brown is out there trying to call plays right now to show anybody and everybody that he's got anything in him worth being hireable. And second, he's the motherfucker that they're paying to turn the lights off.
Yeah, Tony.
No,
look,
I got no problem with this.
No, but look, here's what you're missing, dude. There's no doubt that she is right in her assumption and that they're all going to be fired. We all know that. But listen, I agree with what Kristen says. I agree with what Roosevelt Mongo says. As a man, like, what does it say about you when other coaching staffs are looking at you and they're wondering, wait a minute, if I hire this guy, if things go wrong in the organization, is his wife going to be quick to go on the internet and say shit like this? What I'm saying is it doesn't paint a good look for him if it's true or if it isn't. And, a lot of people agree with that. I'm not saying that she is wrong, because we know that she's right. That every member of this coaching staff is out the door at the end of the year. Is out the door,
bro. CK, it wasn't the most diplomatic tweet if you want to suck dick for the powers that be.
Sure. Yeah, it's
but he is acknowledging that the dick is on the face already.
Well, it's
I know that's very crude.
What we're missing? Yeah, I mean, what we're
be careful. Here, Mama Dunn was in here earlier. I'm just saying, she could still be lurking.
What I think we're missing on this too is, like, again, I think that this is all emotional for her, right? Like, she was responding to somebody literally saying that Thomas Brown needs to be fired.
Right. Everybody has said on the internet, there are memes, CK, about him sucking like this and that. And you know what? It's unfair.
Sure. It's certainly not warranted.
Unfair to him as a person.
Right. Because, I mean, here's the thing. He was clearly brought here with the intentions of this team being ready to compete. I don't think it was ready to compete on any level whatsoever. And so that doesn't,
that makes my heart fucking hurt.
It does, but it also doesn't remove blame from him either, right? But to say, like, her perspective is like, this was a great opportunity. This was going to be a stepping stone to him being a head coach. Do you know how many years of being a quarterback coach or a running backs coach he's going to have to go through now? Like, this probably set his career back 5 years. He was
just already there. No, you could have said Joe Brady. You could have said any of these people. What I ultimately think is that anybody who zeroes in as the play calling being the fucking problem in Carolina, whether it was under Frank Reich or under whoever the fuck, I can't even remember, Thomas Brown now that we're talking about, is making the smallest incremental decisions being part of the problem. I'm sorry, this is like the play calling, yes, could have been better in every situation. Sure. You can execute anything better in any situation. You can write a paper. Every one of my students writes a paper for me, and I tell them how it could be improved. But just because you do one thing wrong doesn't mean it's not good. And I'm telling you, this is play calling is what fans go to when they're fucking exasperated.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, it's not the play calling that has been the problem in
Y'all
Carolina.
didn't say that about Joe Brady when everybody wanted Joe Brady fired.
Oh, yeah, I did. Go back. I'm telling you this is the problem is not executing
I was the only one
plays.
defending Joe Brady at the time. And now he's the offensive coordinator for the Bills. And they're fucking turning it around, dude.
Look at this youngin.
Look at this
youngin. I'm telling you this is that we can find any play call that could be different if it did. Look, every trick play, think about this. Every trick play, if it works, is the most genius fucking trick play.
Yep.
If it doesn't work, it's the most bone fucking headed idea ever. So yes, you can be critical of Thomas Brown, but you can be critical. Like, no, single plays didn't win this. The players didn't win this shit. And what I'm ultimately saying here is that these motherfuckers are going after this. She's right. They're fired as motherfuckers. These are the motherfuckers that have to turn the lights off on Bank of America this year. Chris Tabor. Look, how is Chris Tabor out there? He's like, oh, we're going to take an extra day off.
Yeah, and dude, I put that later in the show, but we can talk.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Yeah, we'll take calls. We gotta do a lot of stuff. I'm drawing this out. I'm pissed about my own life. Pissed about this team.
You want to do some calls, or you want to do one more slide?
You're the producer. You tell.
I say let's wrap it up with this, and then we'll take a call. And again, just to kind of bring it full circle, right? We're talking about, even on bad teams, you can find moments where quarterbacks flash. And you have seen multiple flashes from other rookie quarterbacks now that have really shown their inability to do something. And some would say that it's a lot more than what Bryce has shown to this point. So, again, a lot of people that feel like Bryce is being coddled, they're looking around and they're saying, well, wait a minute, these other guys on non-great rosters are getting wins, and yet we're not. I mean, you see CJ Stroud with 7 wins this season. Tommy DeVito, shout out to Paisan Muscles Marinara, Tommy Cutlets. I know he's been living his best life.
Let us Italian Americans have this moment.
Dude, yeah, I know. Yeah, man. Shout out to all the Italianos, Tony and Kristen included. I know y'all are happy for your boy Tommy Cutlets. But Will Levis led a game-winning drive last night against the number 1 seed Miami Dolphins. Had some big-time throws to DeAndre Hopkins. Has had a few of them this year. Even though Anthony Richardson is done for the season, he already accounted for 2 wins.
I think the question here is, Cody, is not, or not the question, the statement is not about how much these people have succeeded, but how little the Carolina Panthers have at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you can find a good throw, a good quarter, but these are, it sucks. It sucks to put up a graphic. Somebody sent me a graphic that said Tommy DeVito has this many touchdowns, this many interceptions, and Bryce has this many versus this. You know what I'm saying? It just sucks. It's not saying Bryce sucks. It just sucks that this is the reality.
For fans to say that none of that is on him, and I think that's where a lot of fans are. We're going to talk about the civil war going on among
French fans. No, it's a French Revolution, dude.
Yeah,
no one is saying.
Everybody's going to war.
Fans are fighting each other in the streets.
Dude, everybody's going to war. Dude, I'm always at war on that fucking app, and it's look,
y'all are too young. All right. So, what do you think we should talk about from this? What should we gather?
To me, it's gather what you will. It's like, what camp do you fall in? A lot of people look at this and they say, oh, those other quarterbacks are not on a team anywhere near as dog shit as Bryce Young. And you know what?
That's not true. And the Giants are as dog shit.
Dude, if you've been...
I'm sorry. I was trying to agree with you. I was trying to agree with you.
Okay. Well, it didn't
the Giants are terrible.
Yeah, right. And that's the point. I mean, Tommy DeVito apparently statistically has a worse offensive line than the
That's
Panthers,
true.
which is hard to
bad.
imagine. God, but
they're bad. No, they're bad.
So, and they don't have a lot of top tier wide receiver talent either. So again, to the people that will defend Bryce at every turn, you see stuff like this, and you're like, "Nah, man, I'm not." The Panthers have been through so much losing bullshit. I have seen nothing to expect this to turn around. But then, like I said, the vice versa is also true as well. He's on a bad team right now. So this is the cause of pretty much all the war going on in Panther fandom. It's pretty much what side of the fence do you reside on when it comes to Bryce Young. One super chat by the boy. Wait, did I read? You know what? I didn't read Josh Dyson's, did I? I didn't. Josh, I apologize, brother. As a Bryce supporter, I am believing more on what Greg said a while back. Bryce is not a bad quarterback, but he's not the right quarterback for the team.
How does Greg walk into such wisdom on this shit?
Dude, he's just
because he was trying to. He was
but
I feel like he kind of backed into this one position, like he took a stand and then he had to retreat and this and that. But if you look at
really
how about like the Panthers line, is that there's so much truth to that. Is that if you're going to look at this Panthers team and say no receivers, no weapons, no whatever, we kind of thought that was going to be the Texan scenario.
I don't think we I think we all we
right.
Did that was
we just underestimated what Nico Collins was for just anguishing. We didn't know about so he got weapons, and then their backups on offensive line are so much better.
Yeah,
Bryce Young cannot thrive in this team, and that's not a criticism of him. It's just a reality.
Yeah, well, I also feel like this past Sunday's game, there were a ton of throws that Bryce didn't make, where you could say, "Oh, I could see CJ making that throw. I could see CJ making." No, I'm not. The throw where he sailed the ball over Jonathan Mingo's head. CJ hits that fucking route.
So scared about saying the things that we think in our hearts.
There's no fear over here on C3, baby. We speak.
I am I'm terrified of my wife.
White Chocolate Espresso. Cody is Bryce, Robin, Aaron from Game of Thrones. Maybe Lysa Aaron is the T that Bryce is attached to. Old Nicole Tepper. Anyway,
I don't even get any of that.
That's it. Yeah, and you wouldn't because you're a square who doesn't like Game of Thrones. Dude.
I watched Game of Thrones. Shut the fuck up. I watched it. I like that little blonde girl like crazy.
Who doesn't, man? Daenerys Stormborn, man. Breaker of chains. Anyway, listen.
Oh wait, you went way too. You didn't have to give that extra joke. Like,
I had.
You should have just led in without breakers of chains. Can we take some fucking calls, please?
Yeah, the number is
over.
228-5098. Time to hear your opinion.
Can't love her more than I do.
On the Carolina Panthers. Man, don't try me. I'm Jon Snow, motherfucker.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
All right, guys, this is coming from across the pond. Hopefully you can hear it.
Yo, guys, what's going on? It's Dexter over in the UK. How y'all doing?
Dex.
First time being on the catcalls after like 4 years of watching the show.
Nice.
Hang in there, boys. Hang in there. This bullshit season's nearly over. There's obviously a lot going on with the team. I wouldn't even know where to start, but I'll tell you what pisses me off most. The fact that no player shows any passion about what's going on. I know Cody mentioned it briefly on the post-game show with Bryce, but I don't think any of them give a shit. You know, I fell in love with the team because of people like Cam Newton, Steve Smith, Thomas Davis, the people who used to get mad when we'd lose and, you know, just show some passion about it. That Miles Sanders interview a few weeks ago where he said, you know, no matter what's going on, what people are saying. We're a tight team, and we're all friends. Fuck that. I want to see some aggression and people getting mad about it. But anyway, I just want to say a massive thanks to C3 Nation. Not only you boys on the panel, but all the people who make the show great. You know, Panther Pickle, Anthony, G-Baby, Joey the Blind Panther. You're all great. I've heard your voices, you know, for years now, and I feel like I know you all personally.
Hey,
but yeah, take care, guys. Hope you all have a great Christmas, New Year, and you all stay safe. Yeah, catch you fellas later. Take care.
Dexter, awesome. We love Dexter. Man. Dexter's
what
cool,
a great
man.
call.
He's awesome, man. Love to hear fans from across the pond too, man. C3 Nation, we're international, boys. You know, we're doing this. Panther fans around the world unite amongst the C3 Panthers podcast.
It's been like that for a minute. Jay Cryer is my brother from another mother. Like, if there is one person I would rock one night out, like, as I know we would just rip it and tear it up. Jay Cryer is that person.
We have three real good friends from the UK. We got Jay Cryer, we got Rich Kingston, we got Dexter
more than
Henderson.
that. We got a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot, man. Shout out to our UK brubs holding it down.
I want to
by the way, for those, Tony, you may have be on the fringe. For anybody who's interested, who is across the pond, who wants to call in, you can actually record your voice and send it over to Tony via email.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was going to say. Carolina Cat Chronicles at Gmail. Dexter just sent that to us. And look, we understand. First, we like the cat calls line just because it's a way, not just because we always wanted this to be about fan input. And that's actually what I loved about this call more than anything, is more than even the podcast and us on the podcast. Dex is referencing people of the community first, you know what I'm saying? And that warms. That's like what I want. That's what I want. But if you are international, you hit me up at Carolina Cat Chronicles. I know it sucks. Carolina Cat Chronicles at gmail.com. And you throw the voice message over. But you got to message me on some sort of social media the day of the podcast, like Dex did today. Hit me up on Facebook. You said, yo, I sent you an email. And not because I'm not unwilling to play anything. I just suck about juggling all of this shit. So sometimes I'll open the email after the show and be like, oh, fuck, I missed this call. So we don't want you to pay for those international calls. We just want you to be a part of the C3 Panthers podcast. I love this, Cody. And I feel like you are one of the first trendsetters of this, is a personality that people want. Pickle is famous now. Somebody wrote in a comment on YouTube, does Pickle have his own podcast? I love this more than anything. More than someone saying, hey, Tony, did this go on? When someone says, does Pickle have, I'm dead. I love it. It's fucking great to me.
I mean, dude, Panther Pickle's the man. When we met at Spartanburg, somebody asked him to take a picture and asked him for a video of him saying, shut the hell up.
Can't beat that. Hey, I went to a Pirates basketball game and walk in, C3 tap me up, Steven. I'm pretty sure it was Steven. But out of nowhere, I'm like, God damn, I'm a non-celebrity celebrity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, look, just be yourself, you know? Like, that's what we want people to do. We want people to
give you a shirt.
We want people to come to C3 and be themselves and speak their honest opinion. And we want everyone to do that. I know I do it. I know Tony does it. CK does it. We want everyone to be able to do that. And that's why we do the cat calls, man. And the Friday free for all. Everybody is a part of this C3 Nation journey. And Tony, I tell you what,
we got Anthony next, and then Kristen.
Muscles Marinara says that we need to get some C3 Mafia shirts in the pipeline.
No, man. Look, he's blowing his cover.
Yeah, we do. What you mean, man?
Cover, bro. He's blowing his cover.
No, he ain't
This
got,
motherfucker is
he ain't
a
he ain't got nothing to hide.
he is in hiding. Now, you know what? He's
Good
breaking. His
fucking bro.
handler is so mad at him. Let's go back to the cat calls. The number is 252-228-5098. We've got Anthony from Charlotte, then Kristen. Look, the Italians coming hard. Let's go to Anthony first.
What's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hope y'all boys are having a good Tuesday, and hope y'all boys are having a great time during this, winter break for all of us. Not going to spend time talking about that disaster class of a game last week. I already gave my thoughts on it. But I want to talk about, where we are right now. First off, I do want to say, I'm all for let's just sit Bryce Young. There's no point for him to play. I don't want any more of his confidence to be ruined. Do I think Andy Dalton could win us a couple games? Yeah, he can probably win like 2 games, but the defense has got to play good for him because we have not been able to see an offense and a defense dominate at the same time on this team since Steve Wilkes last season. So go ahead, start Dalton. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen there. The Falcons, we're not going to beat the Falcons, even if Bryce Young's starting. We just don't have the offense. Thomas Brown already alluded to the fact that he's basically fired. Like, this whole thing is a shit show. And I hope that goes for the front office as well. That goes to a lot of the speculation that, Thomas Brown's kind of a placeholder for the play calling. Maybe that's why Fitter's a placeholder for the GM right now, just because you have to make day-to-day transactions. That's my opinion on that. As for the game, I will not be going to the game, and I don't want to go to the game. Even if it's $5, I don't fucking care. Rather take my money for PrizePicks. Use code C3. I've been balling out on that recently. But actually, I'm going to Cincinnati this weekend to watch the Vikings Bengals game. My dad's a Vikings fan, and he usually takes me out of town to a away game, a Vikings game every year, just to get a different feel for watching real confident football.
Hell yeah.
And I'm happy I will not be here this weekend to watch this disaster class. I may tune into the game, probably not. Just going to spend some quality time with my dad and, watch some actual NFL teams, not a D3 David Tepper school team. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Last thing I want to say, Derrick Brown's the best player on this team. I've been saying this for weeks. I've been saying this since the season started. He's the guy to pay over Brian Burns, trade Brian Burns. I don't care about the excuses that he's checked out or that he's pissed off about his contract. He's the one that decided to play, and he has a big egg on his face because he's not elite. And all I can say about him is that he's a starter. I mean, there's nothing more. He's not a star. He's not that player anymore. I don't see it. So those are my thoughts, Anthony.
Anthony from Charlotte, man. Appreciate you. Have a fun time at that game. Watching a team that can actually play football.
Going to be the Vikings?
Yeah.
I don't know that you can put that as a team that can play football right now. They're benching Dobbs now.
Which is, I think, fucked up.
Yeah.
But I don't know enough about their team to do that.
How about Joe Flacco? Dude, Joe Flacco fucking going to the Browns.
What about Cam Newton?
Records? Oh, God. I don't even want to tell you.
Nah, Cam Newton couldn't have done all of that shit, man.
I 100%.
That's all you got to say about Anthony's call?
I mean, no, look, I it's funny to me because I feel like Anthony always comes around to my point of view eventually. Like at first, like it does. Sorry, Anthony. I don't mean to be a dick, but it might take you a little while before you come around to my side. But you always do, and I never hold it against you. But I love you, little bro. It's all good. No, and y'all want to talk about Derrick Brown now? He brought him up. Y'all want to wait for later? Y'all want to just bring it up now?
Let's just do it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Derrick Brown. Look, I've said before the start of the season that Derrick Brown was one of those players that we really needed to see his best performance this year, and that is exactly what he has done. I mean, he is playing for a man. He is playing like a man that is playing for a second contract who wants to be top 5 at his
Beyond that,
highest
bro.
paid in his
It's more
position.
than that.
For sure. And dude, he was a monster in the middle of that defense against the New Orleans Saints, to the point where now it's pretty much undeniable. He is the best defensive player on our team.
He's the best player on the team, bro.
It's not Brian Burns. It's not Jeremy Chin. Derrick Brown has finally turned into that unblockable monster that we've wanted to see. And he has gotten better every year. And now he's playing his best football, man. So whether it's with us or for another team, Derrick Brown's going to get paid. I'm loving it, man.
Let's bring up the this is Joe Person from The Athletic said Derrick Brown, this is the headline, Derrick Brown has been a bright spot in Panthers dark season. I'm a game changer.
I'm a game wrecker.
Game wrecker, thank you. Wrecker. He says this quote, and I'm gonna hit you with this. Professor's coming at you, Joe. Floating, hanging quote. You can pick your terminology. I call it a floating quote. People call it a hanging quote. You can look at the sacks. You can look at the pressures. I don't really care. Brown said. Actually, no, it's not then, because he hit the Brown said at the end. Sorry. My apologies for calling you out, Joe. You got it right. Not floating because you hit the comma. Brown said. Let me give him his due credit. Quote, you can look at the sacks, you can look at the pressures. I don't really care, Brown said. If you don't see I'm a game wrecker, then I don't know what to tell you. And for someone here, I learned my lesson, guys. I'm a slow learner, but I learn at times through the school of hard knocks. And I was a KK Short fan. I still am. KK Short was a fucking incredible player for the Carolina Panthers. But for all those people that told me I didn't understand or about what star Latulele really truly brought to that defense, is that you learn how those game wrecker pass rushing defensive tackles benefit from the hog molly beside him. Right. So I have from the beginning understood, or at least tried to appreciate, Derrick Brown's contribution to this team. And for people that tried to be upset with him from the beginning, this Panthers defense sucked against the run from the beginning. They still suck. And he's the only thing that makes them not suck. But listen to this shit right here. He has played. Hold on, let me find it. Brown is excelling. This is quote from Person's story. Brown is excelling this season while playing the most snaps of his career at a position where most teams employ rotations. Brown has played 87.4% of the defensive snaps, only trailing Max Crosby and Aiden Hutchinson, who are defensive ends. This big hog molly is the best player on the Panthers team.
And I'm not sure it's close.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? I don't know if the right move, CK, is to pay Derrick Brown right away.
Right.
I don't know if that is because you want to use these young contracts. But I would argue at the very moment, it's more important to keep Derrick Brown than it is to keep Brian Burns.
I mean, it's hard to argue that, a counter to that. The only argument you could say outside of that is we don't have anybody outside of Burns who's going to be capable of getting the sack, apparently.
Couldn't you say that about Derrick Brown, though? Nobody else is doing anything?
Right. That's what I'm saying is that may be true for Derrick Brown on the interior, but it's also true for Brian Burns on the exterior.
Well, my question is this, Tony. You were an advocate of paying Brian Burns earlier instead of letting it get to this impasse. why not employ the same logic? If we know that Derrick Brown is going to be the defensive cornerstone that we want on our team to be able to build around in the future, why not just bite the bullet and pay him now and instead of letting him get more and more expensive? Because I would argue that it's the same situation as what Brian Burns was in, except I think that Derrick Brown in a shorter amount of time has proven to be more important. I mean, look, I've got some all 22 clips up right here. Look at him just devastating.
He's the best.
The player in front. Look, just being mean, powerful. Like his entire draft profile that you read before he was drafted, you're finally seeing that coming to fruition.
Finally, we've seen it the whole time, man. It's just not from the beginning been a guy you're really putting on.
Flashing.
No, he's not. He's doing the same shit he's been doing the whole time. He is just getting better each season. You guys, all right. So, first of all, you philosopher, Cody Lashley. The way to destroy any philosophical, because now I'm feeling it.
Philosophical.
Right. But any philosophical proposition that you want to hold merit to, the way to truly attack that is to turn its own reasoning against it. Right. So, for instance, there's this guy, his name is W.V.O. Quine. I hate this motherfucker and love him at the same time. And he was a philosopher from Harvard. He's fucking brilliant. He wrote, he's great. He wrote this. He said, no belief is immune to revision. That was his statement. Like he thought this was a philosophical truth that no statement could be revised. No statement could not be revised. Right. So like we could change our mind about Bryce tomorrow. We can change our mind. Ultimately, he said all ideas were malleable.
Sure.
And then one philosopher said this to him. He said, is the idea that no belief is immune to revision
malleable?
Like, can we revise that one? And
yeah,
like, mind blown. Yeah. Right. So you did just turn the philosophical on me.
Yeah, I turned it back.
Asking about Derrick, about Brian Burns. So I know the listeners are like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" But you did throw my own philosophy on me, which is: should you get ahead of the money curve if you believe in this player?
Right.
Go ahead, CK.
By the way, there is a very good chance the salary cap increases an exorbitant amount this year.
It goes up every year.
Dude. No, it does.
Do you know how much it was, CK, when I first started this podcast?
It was I think we talked about it. It was
interesting. $112 million when we first started.
What's the salary cap right now?
Like 190.
I think they're talking about going to 240.
Yeah,
which is insane. Like they grow. Yeah. So I'm so tired. Everybody gets that bump, CK.
Everybody gets that bump, but I'm saying this might be the largest like percentage increase that we've seen outside of the increase coming back from COVID because it went down that year. I think it might be the largest because I mean you got to keep in mind now they have all these deals with all these different networks. It's starting to pay. You got YouTube's income coming in this year.
Not feeling it. It's going up incrementally every year. Cody,
I'm telling you, this year is going to be different. They've already sent out notifications that it's business has been good.
Well, then you should be getting on them contracts early. Cody, to turn my own philosophy against me.
Yeah, why not pay him? Have I changed your mind? Are you already revising your?
No. Right. Great. Thank you, Quine. I think this is that I think that that's still a valid point is to get ahead of the curve. And if you truly believe in somebody, but I also think position groups matter too. Right. And so like, is that getting ahead of the curve on a defensive end, a left tackle, quarterback and this and that is more important than getting ahead of the curve on the, no, I said defensive tackle, I meant defensive end. Then yes, can we beat the number over the next 5 years by signing Brown now? Sure. Right. So then the philosophy works, or the mantra works. But if you stink the whole time in a position group that doesn't truly make a difference, I don't know.
Well, I mean, but
how about
Tony,
this? I will say this is that Derrick Brown is the only person on this team beyond Frankie Louvu. Like, I'm telling you, more than Frankie Louvu, more than Brian Burns, more than pick any player on this team. If you came out and said that they gave Derrick Brown a 5-year contract, he is the least person that I would
you
be
would be like, how much? Yeah, you wouldn't.
I'd be like, fine. I mean, like that would be completely warranted.
And but Tony, also think about what I've said numerous times on this pod. The interior of your trenches, in my opinion, in today's NFL, it's more important than the edges.
Dude, now the fucking pros are talking about you, bro.
I mean, the offensive line and the defensive
You're right.
line.
You're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, dude, you have to affect the pocket of the quarterback. And that's what Derrick Brown does. Players like Derrick Brown allows your linebackers to play faster. It allows your defensive edges to get one-on-one matchups. It's important, man. So that interior, yeah, you have to value that more than anything else, especially at defensive tackle. Derrick Brown has officially moved into that player where that level where I can say he's the only one justifiable that
to extend on a real deal. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, if you came out and you said you signed, all right, anyway, let's go to another call. The number is 252-228-5098. Have we heard Kristen yet?
We have not. Let's hear her.
Here she is.
Hey, C3, this is your girl, Kristen Ledane. 3 words,
Kristen.
Hot dog water. I have been neutral about Bryce, but he has been, for me personally, the most underdeveloped rookie quarterback I've ever seen. Sure, it's not 100% his fault, but it is as well, and I've had enough with this calling I hear more and more of. Thomas Brown, my dude, is sabotaging himself because he wants out of Carolina, in my opinion, but going about it with this obvious garbage playbook and play calls isn't going to help you or your wife either, sir. I feel gross in a way watching a quarterback continuously getting eaten up on the field, especially this point of this waste-away, drama-filled, egotistic coaches comparing dick sizes of the season. Bench Bryce. Just because he hasn't gotten injured doesn't mean jack. It just takes one hit, people. And to add to that, I honestly feel he's adopting bad habits. Can't say he's a bust, but I also can't say he's a starter. So many things wrong since Tepper being the owner. And to be blunt, if Bryce has any amazing talent, it's being ruined by being here in Carolina, and that sucks. That's my 2 cents. Peace.
As motherfucking Jim Rome would say, rack 'em. Oh my God. First of all, I would expect nothing less, Kristen. I would expect nothing less. But damn it. Listen, callers. Listen to that as a trajectory of what you need to bring. She brought the motherfucking heat right there, throwing 99 straight down the middle, trying to say, hit that bitch.
Oh man, dude.
Great
call. And look, and
call.
this is what you're hearing more. Like she said, she gave Bryce, her time, gave him a chance. And then now when you continue to see no development, you have to be able to put some of it on him. And it's not dismissing anything else around him. It is what it is, man. There's a lot of excuses being made. I damn sure love what she said
about Thomas Brown.
Dude, I know, but let me get to that. I love what she said about Thomas Brown. And I really do think that he's doing a disservice to this team by refusing to run the ball in short yardage scenarios. And there is that part of me that thinks it's his final fuck you to the organization on the way out the door.
Who?
Thomas Brown. Why are you had over 204 yards rushing with Chuba and Miles combined. You need points. You're driving, and yet you don't run on third.
I'm so
and
tired
short,
of this bullshit. We would have run
the ball.
You would have thrown this on Madden if that shit got completed. You would have been like, most brilliant play call. No, I'm not going to hate on him for that
Who
shit.
passes the ball 3 or 4 times in a row when you only need a couple of yards?
Every offensive coordinator in this fucking NFL league, dude.
Give me a break. I don't believe that.
It's true.
Did you believe that?
Okay.
Do you believe that any offensive coordinator would choose to throw those balls in those scenarios?
Like picking one good pass from Bryce Young or one bad pass from Bryce Young.
No, you're being ridiculous.
I think the idea, I hated the call. Let's be real about it. I also believe that if that worked, I think we wouldn't be saying anything about questionable play calling. Right.
Right. And how about this, motherfuckers? You were not there. These play calling bitch asses after third one are not there after Miles Sanders ran a 48 or whatever the fuck it was to the 1, and we ran it on 1, got pushed backwards, ran it on 2, pushed back, whatever it was. Y'all weren't talking about how bad the play calling was then. And we're walking backwards, bro. Walking
the play calling has
backwards.
always been bad. We never had the right personnel. It was never the
No, you're on the
problem.
1 fucking yard line. He runs a run. You ain't sitting there going, oh, no, sorry. I mean, I understand. You had success running the ball, but what you did not have in that game was success running the ball when they knew you were running the ball. You didn't have that. This team was not imposing them, Will. I'm tired of this. Like, one thing that we find, and I'm tired about it with the Bryce lovers and the Bryce haters, the Bryce this and this and that. Like, it's just like, let's find one fucking piece of anecdotal evidence that helps our argument, because we can say this: the Panthers were on the 1 yard line after a 48-yard run. They ran the ball and they moved backwards. Are you ready to say that's a bad play call?
I'm saying when you're choosing to not do what you do best on offense, when you need a couple of yards, that is ineptitude on the highest levels. You have seen nothing but Bryce Young struggle and checking the wrong plays and miss throws or receivers drop passes, and yet you feel more comfortable doing that than running the ball. Tony, I don't believe that, they were stopping us whenever we wanted to run. It doesn't mean that you give up on it and check into something that you're less successful doing. It just makes no sense. And I do believe that there is a part of it that's a little bit bitter. I think his wife is bitter. I think he's a little bit bitter, especially when Frank Reich gave him the play calling and took it right away from him. I think everyone is miserable in this organization, and they're willing to do whatever they have to do to burn
the chat is on my side. Chad's on my side. No, I want to talk about, actually, I think Mike Hollinger brings the more advanced discussion into this even more. Is not whether if it's run or pass or this and that, is when you run out of the shotgun with this team or any team, right? Like I'm ready to have that conversation, Mike. I think that's a great point right there, is like, when you run the ball, how do you run the ball? Or when you pass the ball, how do you pass the ball?
And if you're
but I'm not going to sit here and listen to you motherfuckers always bitch about 1 or 2 or 3 or 7 play calls.
Why doesn't Thomas put him under center?
You know what? We had these same motherfuckers talking shit about Mike Shula when we were 15. No.
I don't want to hear about Mike Shula. Mike Shula fucking sucked.
Best offensive coordinator in Panthers history.
Whatever. I'm saying Thomas Brown.
Facts.
All of these things that could easily be done to make the offense even marginally better. Thomas Brown is refusing to do it. I think he's worse at his job than Frank Reich was calling plays.
Oh my gosh. What a hyperbolist. I love it. Thank you. Can we go to another call?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
What would you rather be, a run or a pass?
Run for sure.
Paisan, how you doing?
Hey, how about an Italian?
This fucking guy.
This
fucking guy in the Giants, Tommy DeVito. Yo, the balls on this fucking kid, bro. The balls on this fucking kid. I wish our quarterback had half the sack. Half of the fucking sack this kid's got, bro. This kid fucking game-winning drive, fucking 3 in a row.
We gotta talk about it.
No picks the last 3 games. The fucking kid's got wheels like an 85 fucking IROC Z. Fucking out of nowhere, too. I didn't know he had those kind of wheels on him. The fucking kid's playing great, bro. Fucking undrafted. The stats are just kind of mind-boggling if you think about it. They really are. I mean, I know this is a Panthers podcast. We got to talk about that. I'm tired of fucking being depressed talking about them. One bright spot this season is having some kid that grew up 10 minutes from where I grew up. Fucking get on the field. Nobody knows who the fuck this kid is. Then he's lighting it up. Actually giving the Giants fucking hope for a fucking playoff spot. Totally fucked up the draft capital too. Fucking pushed them out of getting a top quarterback. But honestly, dude, I think he might be the new guy in New York, man. I think he's playing better than Daniel Jones. I think
he is.
Fucking, rallying around him.
He's done more for than Daniel Jones in his
It was fun
entire
last
career.
night watching this kid. And the family and the whole fucking Italian American thing. I mean, come on. Who wouldn't love that shit? This fucking gabagool eating.
We gotta talk about this.
Olive
so
oil
much.
lathering son of a bitch. Fucking Tommy Cutlets in the fucking house, bro. Anyway, I'm sure people are going to talk about other Panther crap and when. I'm just, this week I want to change it up. But anyway, have a good show, boys.
You guys, if you're in Spartanburg, South Carolina, you better go check out Monster Subs. It's like a real northern New York, New Jersey deli.
Yeah.
In the middle of a place that shouldn't belong, Spartanburg, South Carolina. It's wonderful. It's simple and brilliant. Good product, good things. Look, we've got Monster Subs up here. And first of all, I mean, I don't want to be like, hey, we're doing something for somebody without anything. We do this because we family. We familiar.
Yeah.
We're familiar. And Muscles is part of this conversation. And what I love about Muscles is my man has been pointing out our Italian fucking connections from the beginning. From the Eagles coach to this and that. Like, he's been on these early, homie. He's been on these early. Tommy DeVito, your thoughts as white people in America. Go ahead. I'm opening up to white people because black people, just wait until Tony Dunn, Italian American, fucking says I'm a fucking minority, bitch. Let's go.
Dude, I love the picture the comment that went along with this picture. Tommy DeVito's agent looks like Tommy DeVito dressing up as Tommy DeVito's agent. It's a great, man. I love it, dude. I think it's a great story, man. I think that everybody's loving it, man. The Italian American.
Everybody
doing this day. And by the way, the place that he's in, like, the dude is in New York, man. He's from New Jersey. He's playing for the Giants. Like, the dude's balling out. And by the way, ever since he started, he's played 3 games in a row, and he's won 3 games in a row. And again, man,
this is a guy that
unfair.
Listen to this, Cody. Is this tweet right here? I cropped out the person that sent it to me, but his name is JC Del Torre, and we've been friends. He's like a Jags fan or something, and he messaged me this morning, and he said Dove Kleinman chose violence this morning against you. So I got people that don't care about the Panthers but know about this.
Yeah, dude. So Giants undrafted rookie quarterback Tommy DeVito, 9 touchdowns in 6 games. Panthers first overall pick, 9 touchdowns in 12 games. And if you're a Panther fan, it's enough to drive you up the wall, man. Again, how many other rookie quarterbacks are going to have a higher level of success than Bryce?
Take that, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, man. Dude,
Take that, you purdy
it's
ass
not going
bitch.
away, man. It's not going away. This is going to be a conversation that people are having for a while. And dude, shout out to the Giants, man. Like I always think it's a special moment when a team like finds their quarterback. Dude, it's a good fucking feeling. I'm hoping that we can feel that at some point too, man. Josh Dyson with the 999 says don't have anything specific to say. Just want to support the podcast.
Fucking the coolest dude I've ever met.
Thanks for providing a space for us to come together to bitch and moan. Appreciate what you boys do. Keep pounding. Yes, sir. Tony,
CK.
Italian Americans are all the rage right now, man.
Oh, I know. CK, how do you, as a white guy? This is what I love.
Not every white
I'm
guy's
about to
Italian,
fuck
by
the
the way.
internet up right now. The internet is about to get fucked up by Tony. But CK, how do you feel about Tommy DeVito?
I mean, it's hard not to feel positive about the guy.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Is he your Rocky Balboa?
Am I rooting for them to be successful? Absolutely not. Right? You know, I'm a Panthers fan through and through. I'm not going to be rooting for another team, especially in the NFC, to be successful. But I mean, hell, if you can't recognize a good story, man, I mean, that's the type of thing that you hope you can find as somebody. Now, the thing that I will find more interesting is how they're going to handle Daniel Jones when he's ready to come back.
Totally. Yeah,
that's going to be an awkward conversation.
That has nothing to do with the Italian part.
No,
that's just with the backup part.
Right. I mean, I don't really. Again, nothing.
All right.
The whole Italian stuff, it doesn't really bother me. It doesn't, you know, it's not some you know, crazy.
Let me lesson you. Let me lesson you, white boy. How about that? This is where this is where we're gonna.
Not every white boy is Italian, Tony.
Right. No, this is where we show the complexities of life, where everybody just classifies everything as one thing. True. And then when we get a cultural thing that we can latch onto, then we make dynamics about that. Because I'm just a white boy, you're just a white boy, until we're Danny fucking DeVito eating chicken cutlets. Right. And then all of a sudden you recognize culture, ethnicity, and these things. First, look, any backup quarterback story taking over the starting job is going to be an interesting story, one that creates controversy, and then you put it into the largest media market and arguably the world in New York. Obviously, this story will have some legs. Name that to a local kid who is an Italian American, right? Which that city itself is so built upon the melting pot of history in the world. And look, I have a colleague who says this, and I don't know if it can be refuted. He says that America is the most diverse country in the history of the world.
I think that's pretty undisputed, right?
Right. I mean, it's hard to I don't know if it can be.
What other country would even come close? That one.
Right. So we have
the UK has probably got
not even close.
I mean, they don't have as many people, so it wouldn't be as much as us.
And not the diversity too. Like not the different diversity. They might have some diversity. They might have half the there are. I don't know if there is one. I think he's right ultimately. As a person who is Italian American or not Italian, I'm fucking from Winterville, North Carolina. I'm American as it comes. Not Italian American. I mean, but like, look, my grandmother is way more Italian than your bitch ass is from Rocky Mount or whatever, clearly. I think this is important to show us this. Is one, I like this, is I like the story of understanding that race, ethnicity is more complex than just a black and white oppression versus disoppression. And what I want to tell people this is that just because we're kind of rooting for an Italian kid doesn't mean that we're unaware of realities of the world and this and that. The fact that we can rally around a kid from New Jersey who lives with his parents is a fucking American story, bro. It's a true American story, and you might not identify with it, but I do. My great grandmother came here in 1910 by herself to live with family. That they didn't even like her because she didn't speak English. They had to fucking take care of her. She didn't speak English. Ultimately, I am saying this here. I'm going to get this later in the show in my ice up. But if you got a problem with a motherfucking, some of us muscles, I know you're a real paisan. In fact, he brings the paisan out of me. If you got a problem with us ultimately cheering and rallying around for this, then fuck you with your cultural appropriation. Get rid of your chicken cutlets. You better not talk about chicken cutlets. That's our shit. Don't talk about no boss. Don't talk about the me familia. Don't talk about these fucking you a gangster. That's cultural appropriation. You're welcome, motherfucker.
Have you? I have a question, right? Do you feel like you have seen a lot of that? Like, have you seen anyone make the case that it's in any way wrong for anyone?
Yes,
to be
I have a tweet.
Oh, do you really?
A real big person tweet who acted like this. And this is what they said is talk about, I'll save it for later in the show. But what they said was this is the fact that Tommy DeVito is a bigger storyline of cultural semblance than, and then they named like Jokic from the Timberwolves. Like it was like, you don't know about this guy's background, but we're all fucking making a national story line about his mother making his bed, fucking making him dinner and chicken cutlets. So yeah, I am taking that. I'm gonna tell you this is that y'all's stories of hardship and unappreciation, whoever you are, they exist. I don't disagree with them, but don't fucking take away from old Tommy DeVito living with his mama and being an awesome fucking story. I'm cheering for my man. And guess what? You come to our Thanksgiving, you're going to have something more than some fucking turkey and some yams. We got that lasagna ready for you. We got that Sunday gravy ready for you, homie. Don't shit on our small culture because you think you're nah, that's it. Hey, I love this paisan.
Yeah, how about this? Just don't be a hypocrite, right? Let people enjoy whatever culture they're a part of, and quit telling people what to do for pats on the back from people you've never fucking met in your life on the internet. How about
this?
That?
This is a great story. Don't shit 100%. On Tommy DeVito's story. That's all I'm saying is this. Don't shit on his story just because it's not A, the story you wanted, but B, it's a great story. Fucking Tony, what kind of Italian kids ever play football? What kind of, like, you're short, you're fucking.
But Tony, look, okay, you know what? Most people love the story and think that it's awesome. It's only the few whiners and criers on the fucking internet that get paid to write for these super fucking lefty vlogs about the evils of cultural appropriation and shit.
Right.
And they write this.
Don't take my culture.
Everybody up in the bus. Dude, I don't think anyone is mad. I think it is just people making stories, trying to find shit to be angry about. I mean, that's what people do. They find shit to be angry and offended about. And I have no respect for those fucking people. Let's take a few more calls and then I'll bring back up the presentation.
Let's go. Sorry, I went
Hello, boys, and good evening. It's Nick from Seattle calling in. First and foremost, I have to eat some shit. Greg, I was one of the people who was critical of you at the end of the off season and over the summer about not putting all your eggs in the Bryce Young basket. How you said, wait a minute, we got to look at that team around him, and wait a minute, he is a rookie, and wait a minute, maybe he's a little undersized. Greg, you were right. I was wrong, and I'm here to eat some crow. And Greg, you were right. I should not have jumped all into that Bryce Young bucket, but I was excited, as we were all excited. We had the number one pick. We had a chance to make a franchise-altering decision, and boy, howdy, did we make a franchise-altering decision, not in a positive way. I mean, I was having a conversation earlier today. Do y'all realize we've spent 7 draft picks in the last 4 years on a quarterback? Going back to the picks we gave up for Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, 7 draft picks. That's insane. And we still aren't even sure if the guy we got is the guy. And then don't even get me started on the money we've dumped into that position, going from cutting Cam to signing Teddy Bridgewater, that terrible contract that was more than we were paying Cam, then guaranteeing Darnold's 5th-year option immediately. Baker we got on the cheap because Cleveland just wanted him the fuck out of there. But now we're paying Bryce. I mean, he's on a rookie deal, so we're good there. But damn, we got to do some shit. And it's like the only way we're going to even get a good GM, I mean, one of two things. One, I think Scott Fitterer's not going anywhere because, one, who would want this job? The only way any competent GM that can lead us anywhere would take this job is if they get in writing from Tepper saying, I will be 100% hands off. The football is your job. I will write the checks. And Tepper would never do that. We all know what kind of man Tepper is. And, I mean, can we just keep it a buck here? Dude's got a little dick. He has to. There's no way you out there swinging a hammer with this sort of insecurity and lack of self-awareness to really lead men. He ain't a leader of men. So it's just a fucked up situation. And I just got to say, Greg, you were right. I apologize for not having more just thoughtfulness in terms of how this would happen. And now here we are, shitting in one hand, wishing in another, trying to figure out which one's going to fill up.
Oh, man. Great call, man. All the way from Seattle. Kyle from Seattle, man. Dude, what can I say? I feel like a lot of people are showing you that they have their moment where it's like, all right, dude, enough is enough. And every single time we do this pod, we're getting more people that are like, enough is enough. And yeah, but when it comes to, hey, look, I have no idea the size of the package of any man in the front office or on the football field. But I think there's definitely a lack of leadership just about everywhere in this building. How about that?
Can we take another call?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey. You know who the fuck it is. Booyaka, booyaka, booyaka! Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson,
We don't
Watson,
need any of them.
Aaron Rodgers, and now Justin Herbert. That's 7 fucking plus QBs that are IR that are missing the season. Why my motherfucking nigga, BY, the motherfucking truth, is still standing on his 2 motherfucking feet.
And somebody find a list of how many more touchdowns than all of them have thrown.
Completion rating still over 60%, and his QBR is still over 73%.
I don't know. Listen,
Ain't no fucking way, bro.
No weapons.
This is not over no 60%.
Last Sunday.
He has overruns.
Ain't no fucking way, bro.
Nothing. And he's still fucking standing. And you bitches.
I mean, that's the coolest part about Bryce Young.
To complain? In my opinion, Bryce. Hey, kudos to you, G. I'm impressed, G. I'm impressed. Fuck the pick sixes. That's what's gonna happen. I'd rather have you do that shit right now. Your rookie fucking season.
I agree with that. You're right about
the
that.
fucking bruises right now. still standing on his 2 fucking feet.
Not if he has fucking PTSD.
Shout out to you, JC Horn. You've been impressing the fuck out of me these past 2 games. Continue to stay on the field. The best ability is availability, JC. I need you on the field. But if you're going to be playing like this, I'm down to keep you. Brian Burns, I don't know what's going on, but you're checked out.
This
I
motherfucker
see
ready
it in
to
your
keep
play, bruh. You are checked the fuck out, but that's okay because you about to get up out of here. We're going to get something out of you, motherfucker. Hey, shout out to White Chocolate Espresso. We've been at the number 1 and 2 position the entire fucking league, the entire season in the C3 Dynasty fucking ties, G. You and I, bruh. Hey, and that fucking first week bias, that shit feels great, don't it? Shout out to you, my brother. Hey, my white Italian brother, what's up with you, Tony?
I know. Welcome.
Man, you know who the fuck this is, man. I got a lot to fucking say. Hey, shout out to Derrick Brown.
Too, man. We're all in the same
You
team.
big gorilla ass nigga. Man, you know who the fuck this is, man? Give fucking BY some fucking respect.
Why? No,
y'all gonna be bitching and moaning and complaining for the next 12 to 14 years, but don't worry, I got my receipts on you motherfuckers.
Yes,
you know who
keep
the fuck
them.
this is, man.
Keep
Shout out
them.
to you guys, man. C3, the longest running fucking podcast, my motherfucking dogs, man.
Love
Tony, I love you, my brother.
I love you.
Shout out to you, G.
I love you too, G baby.
Oh, you ain't got no fucking love for me, G?
No, fuck.
God damn,
look,
bro.
He loves because Italian is the closest to black that you can get. That's white.
Yeah. I
That's
heard
number one.
Sicilian is even closer, right? Sicilian is even like.
I am parts. Sicilian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're actually. I could give you the whole logistics of how it's as
you
close
would be
as
the
fucking
same family
Cuba.
tree.
Nah, but we ain't trying to play that. What he's trying to play that is we get it. And he right about a lot of shit, but he's also fucking a bitch ass motherfucker for saying, "Oh, all Bryce did was survive this year." The best thing he said about Bryce was survive. He made it. And you know what? That was a giant fucking question mark for us going in to the season. How about this? Is that if any question was solved about his durability, that was the last question I really wanted answers. And then next he said, what the fuck else? He said one other thing that made me nuts. He was wrong about that shit is but Bryce holding up. Oh, who did he go to next? He went to one other person next in that call. It was Bryce Young, and he was talking about JC Horn. Fuck, you cannot celebrate Bryce Young's durability for getting his ass beat the fuck up, and then in the next breath say, I mean, he did. He caveated it. So I'm not saying that he just came out and was like, but he's like, JC Horn, you play like this, and we're going to sign you, motherfucker. You just got to be available. Motherfucker made one fucking play. One singular motherfucking play. And
it was miraculous, dude.
Yeah. And then everybody's like, told you. Elite JC. Fuck that. I love you, G baby. I'm on your side for a lot of this. And I love when black people welcome me into their circle. I am not going to lie. That's the most honest thing I've ever said is when black people welcome me. And I'm like, that's the coolest shit that ever happened.
I still always cringe because there's always somebody in the chat room. It happened last week that doesn't.
That said he's not black.
That doesn't.
We gotta prove G Baby's black.
Yeah, we have to prove G Baby.
I don't gotta prove it.
To be able to say the N word on our fucking.
I want to say, all right. So this is, and I'm gonna get canceled for this.
Well, then don't. Let's just fucking go to the next call. Goddamn it.
I gotta say it.
No, you don't.
Don't them tweets hit harder when they get to drop them words?
Oh, for sure. It's the most powerful word ever.
Because I'm like, man, you motherfuckers get to say that. Like this tweet, I could have said the same tweet minus this, and they dropped that, and they're like, oh, wow, you're part of a cool club. Not cool. I don't even know if it's a cool club. It's just a club. I can't wait. It just sounds like a hard ass motherfucker. Like, what do we say as Italians? There's a hard ass motherfucker like Gabagool that we fucking call him a Stunad. You know, I mean, it's not Fafangool. It's not the same. Stunad means just stupid motherfucker. Fafangool means fuck you.
Hey, bro, dude, straight up, Muscles Marinara helped teach me a brand new word.
Dude, he's got mad Italian. That dude is steeped in real Italian culture, bro.
Brand new Italian slang.
I told you he was a fucking.
That I've never heard in my life, dude.
Dude, he speaks full fucking Italian sentences. I'm like intimidated by it. No, I'm telling you, it's real. It's real.
And by the way, I do agree that we need a C3 Mafia shirt. We need to make that happen.
We're gonna make somehow. I think now that we got Muscles here, myself, I had my grandmother. I recorded my grandmother. If you go back to like 2015, it's a long time ago. And we were trying to like just start to put sound edits and stuff in. I called my grandmother up and I asked her about like if you're gonna have people over for an afternoon lunch after like a baptism, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you want to put out? And I'm coaxing her to say the cold cut tray. Like, you gotta have cold cuts. Like, that's just the thing. You know what I'm saying? You just have meats and cheeses as cold cuts. And so I then recorded my grandmother talking about cold cuts and then talked about it when we cut people from the 80, 90 to the 70. Like, it was like my cold cut bit. And my uncle here, you'll appreciate this, Muscles. I told my uncle about this stuff, and my uncle listens, I think, occasionally, and my cousin. And he had the best joke. And this was 7-8 years ago. I remember this like yesterday. So I was telling him about calling grandma, recording her, saying cold cuts. I need you to say cold cuts. I need you to talk about it a little bit, and then I'm going to cut it up. And we're going to talk about these players. And he said, why didn't you ask her, have you ever put the Harris Teeter cold cuts the Food Line cold cuts in a Harris Teeter bag? And this is the fucking funniest shit to me ever. It's like you go and buy the cold cuts at the cheaper store. Then you slip them into the Harris Teeter bag so your friends think they're from the better store. This shit drove. All right. Well, maybe Muscles would appreciate that. This shit drove, like, y'all didn't laugh about it. I went to a liquor store once too, and this guy, he said this. And he went and grabbed this bottle of Gentleman Jack. And I was like, damn, you grabbed that shit with purpose, bro. I was trying to lose weight at the time. And I was like, what made you pick that? And he was like, oh, this is that. Blah, blah, blah. He's talking about the price of this. He said, but I love to put, this is what he told me in the line. He said, I pour it into the Woodford Reserves bottle at my house, and I give it to my friends, and they don't know the difference. And they think I'm giving them like, he's like saving $8. That was my uncle's joke. Let's go to the next call.
Hey, this is Panther Pickle. Listen, I just wanted to say this briefly because I get all I want to say off on C3 Spaces and Friday, but I just wanted to say this real quick, folks. We're going to be better. It won't be tomorrow.
Can't be worse,
next
motherfucker.
year, probably. It's going to be a slow process, but we'll get her there. And I know you'll probably already discuss the article on by Peter King. I've read the whole article about the Panthers, and you know what? It's not that really much about the Panthers, but there's nothing there that we haven't already discussed. There's nothing there that we don't already know. In likelihood, we're not gonna get one of the top candidates for head coach job. Why? Because of all this that's been put out. You're gonna, but I believe we'll get a good guy. There's a lot more I want to say, but I'm not going to.
Why
I want
are you even saying
now,
this?
Panther Nation.
Pickle.
We're going to get
pickle on
somebody.
Prozac right here.
I don't believe that every candidate out there wants to be paid top dollar for everything. So money won't always get you who you want. But
Pickle's trying to get a job.
I still think that when you think about a head coach, you need to separate the head coach and the offensive coordinator. Because if you're hiring an offensive coordinator to be your head coach because you want him to offensive coordinate, that may not be what he wants to do. Very few head coaches come in as a rookie and are very successful being head coach and offensive coordinator.
Pickle.
So, but y'all keep pounding and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Panther Pickle. First of all, love you to death. Check out your Shut the Hell Up t-shirt on C3. Nobody's bought anything in 3 months off the website, like since September. So, hey, just put that out there. I mean, that's fine. And we don't push enough, like, hey, check the gear, check the blah, blah, blah. But I love Panther Pickle. That was the most reserved Panther Pickle I've heard in a minute. Like, he took a Prozac and made that call. What does he mean by that? And is he auditioning for the job of head coach by saying, not everybody wants the most money?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's saying, like, just because David Tepper has the capability to throw around ungodly amounts of money, that might not be enough to justify a coach wanting to come here. If, say, for example, the Chargers, which they're going to fire their coach because now Justin Herbert's out for the year. So it's not just going to be the most expensive, most notable candidate that the Panthers might be getting.
Right.
And if he's getting that, then I would agree with them, right? And again, that's why I love a name like Bobby Slovic. He's not necessarily the biggest name in the coaching hires that everybody wants. He's not the darling like a Ben Johnson is, but I think he's damn sure what we need right now, and I would love to have him. I kind of think that's
well. Clearly, throwing around money has not been the solution to this.
No.
What we have to do is now throw away
throwing around money at the wrong people
and the process, dude. Like fucking David Tepper, listen to us. Come on the podcast. Somebody said this is Bryce. What was it? Oh, was it G Baby said Bryce was never coming on the podcast? Don't worry. We'd love to have any motherfuckers. We would even take the fucking person sweeping up, taking out the trash and BOA. That's what we trying to get up in any angle. But bring us David Tepper up here and we will tell you exactly what the fuck to do. Or at least I will. And that is, let's go hire a fucking GM that we believe in. And then let this motherfucker go to work. And then he can come tickle our balls a little bit later to make us feel like we're a part of the process and say, oh, you okay with what I'm about to do? And we say, yes, that sounds great. David Tepper, it's not about not throwing around money, but throwing around the money isn't the solution. Right? It's like, yes, it takes money, but we just can't throw money at love. Right? I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, yes, it's going to take money, and you having the biggest, fattest pocketbook in the world is going to make this party way more fun.
Yeah, I'm like
let me in here. But, dude, it's a very simple process. Let's go get a motherfucking GM. Let's make him hire the head coach. And when the shit don't work out, both of these bitches are out of here. It's the answer. It's the real truth to the matter, guys.
By the way, I'm like 90% sure that David Tepper bought love.
Bought what?
I'm like 90% sure that David Tepper bought love.
What does that mean?
It means Nicole Tepper's not there out of the,
because he's
what a bitch. You know what? Another reason he needed an advisee to say this.
Head.
Fuck that, man. I could have advised you to not do that as well. I could have advised you to just stay a billionaire and fucking have somebody that's very important.
I'm just saying, money does buy a lot of shit. It depends on how much you have.
You know what? Overpaid. He overpaid for Nicole Tepper.
Before you go to the next call, I'm going to read a quote or a tweet from someone, and I want y'all to guess who it might be. Will Levis isn't wowing, but he's
I already
got
know who this
something
is.
in him. Levis, Stroud, Richardson, and shoot, even DeVito make this an interesting quarterback class to watch.
I know it too. I saw it in the
I did
media
too.
thing. CK, what?
Do you know it's such a shot without directly taking a shot?
It's a
You
real
just
shot.
know it.
He
You
is not
just know it.
dumb enough. CK, this is a real deal.
None other
Former
than
former
Bill Vogt.
head of Panthers media, Bill Vogt, puts this tweet out.
Yep.
He is not unaware of the list he's making.
Oh, he 100% understands exactly what he's doing.
Oh my God.
There's no arguing that, right?
Why did he do this?
Well, he was never a Panthers fan. Like people forget that.
You're right. But he's not been an anti guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he hasn't terribly first of all, he created the first independent media outlet outside of Charlotte Vibe. Right. Like Black and Blue Review. He tried right when we were starting out as a podcast, and God bless him. I wish we tried to everything. The fact is we do this as a hobby. This guy tried to do this as a living with Black and Blue Review. We interviewed him. Joey and I, our first interview probably was with him at Panthers training camp in 2013. He rolls for a couple of years with Black and Blue Review by himself. Untenable, honestly, to try to be an independent guy that just makes money in he wanted to be a real newsie. And what I mean by that, I'm not trying to downgrade that. He's a real reporter, a real person that doesn't. I mean, he has got integrity in a way. You know what I'm saying? So he wanted to do his shit in the right way, which was never going to win. Even in the wrong way, it wouldn't have won either. But then he went and joined the Panthers media, became the leader of their media department for 3 or 4 years. By the way, I said that 7 times. You want to talk about Darren Gant, the new heel of Panthers media, was Bill Vogt's friend. They're friends, or they were. I'm sure they still are. But not Bill Vogt, but Darren Gant used to be real journalist. Now he's turned Panthers bitch. And I mean, I'm sorry. I don't mean that really to you. But you got to, I mean, we understand your position, your job. But Bill Vogt is now what? Just 2 years removed? No, and he only makes 7 tweets a year. He makes no tweets. And then he'll be like, oh, apologies. I don't want you to take this wrong way. And then he puts this out there. Come on. He knew what he was doing. You ready to go to another?
I love it. I love it. I love the fact that he's willing to. I mean, dude, it's so intentional.
I'm worried about what this says in the background, Cody.
You're what?
I'm more worried about what this says in the background. And here's 2 reasons why. And I'm sorry I cut you off. But number one is when we heard about Matt Rule and his over-controlling presence in the social media afterwards, we were like, that's what whack. Actually, I'll say 3 reasons. Number one is that. Number 2 is in 2015, 16, 17, we're talking about how cutting edge the Panthers social media team was. They were on the forefront of a lot of different things. So that conversation has dimmed. We don't continue to talk about that as much. Then we see this news about Matt Rule over controlling. Then we see Bill Vogt leave. Right? He leaves. Okay, who cares? A lot of people. Max Henson has left. That's fine. People move on to different jobs. But then about 6 or 7 months later, Bill Vogt puts out a story for Business Insider or something like this. It was a non-sports thing, but he was talking about teams that had cutting edge media teams or something. And he put the Browns. Guess what? He listed 5 teams and he didn't list the Panthers. And now you got this list. There's so much smoke here.
Yeah. And he knows it too. By the way, everybody responded to him. And like, damn, Bill, no Bryce. But all he did was
he did it on purpose, bro.
Emoji. Yeah.
It's smart.
Again, man.
Or how about this? Was it tactical and smart, or was it right?
Both.
That's the thing that's scary to you. You think about, he did this. He's trying to fucking do this. He's got these agendas or whatever. The scary part is the list actually being fucking right.
Right. And that's look, this is literally the reason why I named the show when I named it tonight. And that's the conversation, man. Rookie quarterbacks are thriving while ours is diving.
All right, let's take another call.
Yo, C3 family, D, Sanford, North Carolina. Shout out to the great Tony Dunn, to the homie Cody Lack, CK Grid, Muscle Marinara, that effing guy, that daggone Panther pickle, shut the hell up. And daggone, everybody got to have a G, baby. So I saw in the title and everything that talking about how other quarterbacks have been thriving and Bryce hasn't. We can talk all the rigmarole about the lack of offensive line. We can talk weapons. We can talk about the coaching dysfunction. And all of those things matter. They truly matter. Okay? But it doesn't also negate the fact that even though Will Levis is a diamond in the rough that needs to be polished up, like he can be salvaged, he's with an experienced coaching staff. You got Derrick Henry in the backfield. You got a veteran receiver. I mean, things can happen, but he was impressive, even though he didn't even strike 200 yards, I believe. If I'm not, no, he did get over it. I think he had 300 yards. But either way, we can tell that he has the arm talent. He's probably just rough around the edges on the other end. CJ, what's to say? I think last Sunday, without the lack of weapons, the weather, and playing the best pass defense in football, you kind of saw his rookie weaknesses. And I think 2 things can be true. Bryce has underachieved compared to the other ones that have gotten to start, but also in the same breath, he also hasn't had completely what these other guys had. Okay? So, yeah, I'm still playing the long game with Bryce, which we really don't have no choice because of contractual obligations that we have to him. No, I don't think we should Josh Rosen him. But you're going, like I said, I keep saying, you're going to have to hit with the GM. You're going to have to hit with the coaching staff. You're going to have to get something that looks like a receiver and something that acts like it wants to block. All right? But at the end of the day, it doesn't look good on us for these teams' quarterbacks to at least be developing at a rate that Bryce has not had the opportunity.
Hold on. I think picked my phone up by accident.
Yo, C3 family.
Oh, Lord. Good God. All right. Talk about the call real quick, as he mentioned ultimately what he was really bringing up. D. Thank you, D. We love you. Stroud struggled against the Jets, and he was missing his weapons. Let's talk about it.
I think it's worthy of a conversation. Yeah.
CK immediately. Well, first, awesome. the Jets blew these motherfuckers out at home. There's a lot of things going into this game. Zach Wilson and bringing him back. Last chance, Zach Wilson. But also CJ Stroud finally facing a good team, a good defense. The best defense in the league, arguably, in some ways. And that's where I'm going to try to make a wedge in this argument. But He was missing Nico Collins. He was missing Tank Dell, and I believe Dalton Schultz, like everybody that he had.
And by
So
the
he
way,
was playing with the Carolina
raining.
Panthers.
It was also raining sideways and really ridiculous winds too. And apparently, the entire team was complaining about the turf at MetLife Stadium as well.
I understand that thought, but the other argument here is Zach Wilson didn't have the issues, right? He actually came out. I'm not saying he was a world beater, but he didn't have the similar struggles, right? I think there's something to be said about the, again, I'm not saying that this means CJ Stroud is a bust. I just think that when you start to put those caveats in there, all of a sudden you start to sound like Bryce Young supporters, right? That's exactly the arguments that we would have, and they're not considered valid when it's not Bryce Young, or when it's Bryce Young, but when it's somebody else, it's not as important, right? Again, now here's the thing: is nobody is saying that that those things aren't contributing to Bryce Young's lack of development, which is the other part of this. Anybody who's trying to use the CJ Stroud thing is like, we all agree that Bryce Young is in a shitty situation. But I do think it's worthy of a conversation, if nothing else, to say, this is a very clear show that how much weapons mean to an offense and coaching.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
and you're playing a top defense.
We're also talking about again the best defense, one of the best defenses in the NFL, and the Jets. They do this to just about every quarterback that they play. Number two, CJ has basically had 2 bad games all year, the Panthers and the Jets. And then, by the way, he also left that game. He didn't even finish the game. Quinn Williams hit him with the head-to-head tackle, and CJ left, and he was in concussion protocol.
Well, that wasn't a head-to-head tackle.
It was a helmet to helmet.
Well, he got hurt.
It wasn't. He got slammed to the ground.
Oh, well, I know Quinn Williams, he made an apology on Twitter and said, hey, I'm not trying to hurt CJ Stroud.
Right.
What I love about all of this, actually, I hate every moment of any of this shit.
But hold on, let me get my point off, though. My point being is that when you look at this game, and like now there are people like, oh, CJ Stroud, he needs this and that. Dude, that entire game was like a confluence of everything that can go wrong did go wrong. Now, yes, that's happened a lot to Bryce this year. But again, like when you look at everything in context, like you're talking about a guy that was an MVP consideration. Now everyone's getting injured all around him. He was already on 4 backup offensive linemen. It's like, what more do you want?
He can come back out next week and win, and he'll be back in it. I agree with you, Cody, is that taking him against a number 1 defense, top 5 defense in the league with there are many reasons why this game turned out the way it was. And particularly because, and I didn't watch it, so I have to go back and watch it, but I am going to guess if Zach Wilson had 300 yards passing in the second half or whatever, the Texans defense didn't do them no favors anyway. Right. And so I am not going to sit here and argue about why somebody is good and better and this or that. What is fucking irritating to me, not irritating, it's just actually, I'm just going to have to accept it, is that we're just going to find any anecdotal evidence that helps us. Right. We're going to find one play that Bryce Young makes that CJ Stroud doesn't. We're going to make one. And let me, for the people that are going to take offense to this, who are, I guess, Bryce Young defenders, we're doing the same thing for CJ Stroud. We're taking the best plays, the best moments, the worst moments, and this and that. And ultimately, we know this is that it's not a real. It doesn't matter if CJ Stroud was a Panther. He's not. Right. So you can be like, oh, and this is the other one I hate, is where people are like, oh, well, CJ Stroud would have struggled in this. Yes, he would have struggled. He could have done better. He's not the same motherfucking person. And guess what? It doesn't matter. Right. So the fact that he struggled against a good defense, are we going to go and look like it is just being married? We are being married right now. We are in a dysfunctional fucking marriage where we all want to leave each other. That's what this is. The Bryce Young conversation is an unhappy marriage where you are like this. You're like, oh, well, you didn't fucking put the dishcloth up right. You didn't want. Guess what? The problems are more systemic than one action. You didn't want them to work in the first place. You wanted to be divorced. I'm speaking out of my own Oh, sorry. My problem.
Hey, that's why we go to therapy. That's why you go to C3 to help you get the therapy that you need to help everybody feel better.
How are you going to come and be like, oh, CJ Stroud had a terrible game against the top 3 defense, but then fucking Bryce Young had 27% completion rate?
But the argument isn't that he did a poor job against the great defense. The argument is he lost his best receivers, and all of a sudden CJ Stroud became somebody completely different. Now, I know that we could talk about the defenses that he faced. I get that that's a good defense. My point entirely is that I think there's something to be said about the fact that CJ Stroud lost his best weapons and he began to look very similar to Bryce Young in his appearance. Now, again, I understand there's going to be caveats to that, but to say that that is irrelevant would be unequivocally false.
That is my point, I think, CK. But from the other perspective, is that we have been trying to diminish other people's successes throughout the season
to make Bryce look better. Oh, the CJ's was always because of the talent around
I don't
him,
even give a fuck at this point.
Bryce would be able to do the same thing on the Texans.
You get me.
And it's like now that they find the moment to jump on him. Oh, look how important everything else is. Okay, CJ has also.
This is a dysfunctional fucking marriage, man. Let's just get divorced.
No, it's but the reality of
all
what
we got to do is go
is,
fuck Cam Newton, and we would be fine. Everybody would get off.
But the part of this is that if that's exactly what's happening on either side of this argument, right? Like when Bryce Young has a bad game,
right? That's my point.
This is what's happening here. This is why we should have went with CJ Stroud. Look at this, what he's doing over here with this, right? And then when we finally see evidence of the issues that could plague a rookie quarterback actually come into fruition for a guy like CJ Stroud, then all of a sudden those arguments become irrelevant. I don't think that's a way to approach this. I understand.
But that's what it is.
Right. But I'm saying,
and let's bring up the French Revolution discussion as we talk about it. CK, that is my point.
Right.
Is that I don't think that a bad play, a bad game, or a bad series, or a bad situation is a complete referendum on Bryce Young. Nor do I think that CJ Stroud. I have tried to avoid the jealousy of success. Right? It's like, or the immediate jealousy of success when it comes to Stroud. I have not tried to be baited into, oh, he's doing this. Bryce isn't doing this. I am trying to say this. We got this player. This is what we did. And yes, and I don't even like the, oh, would Stroud be a little bit better or worse? You know what? We'd be the same shitty fucking team, just with a different quarterback, which is 100%. Fine. Maybe he would be better. Maybe he'd be worse. Who gives a fuck? This is what we got, right? And I know these narratives are intertwined, but Panther Nation has become really divided, bro. And not that we were ever united. Like, I mean, like it was like, oh, Panther Nation, we love each other. I'm not trying to be like this. Again, I continue as I've only done this podcast for 10 years. I only believe Cam Newton was the most controversial player in the history of football almost. But I knew he was the most divisive player in Panther history. And I had no idea that in 4 years of having nobodies at quarterback, that we would get this little motherfucking Bryce Young, who was so polished, so smart. All of these things that you never said. They call him cerebral, bro. Before Bryce Young came in, we used to talk about hidden racist language. Be like, oh, Cam's an athlete. They were even using the terms Bryce Young cerebral, right? So it's like I feel like Cam ushered in this era where we are, and we'll talk about that at a different time. But this little motherfucking dude is more controversial than Cam Newton. How in the fuck is it? This is the French Revolution, bro. And the French Revolution was over equality. It was over representative government, but it turned into everybody being the fucking problem.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude,
no one is safe in Panther
Well,
Nation.
what happens is like you make a take online. People know you for that take. And then they'll continue to come after you based on the smallest little thing in the world. And yeah, now you got people showing up to fucking parking lots and fighting this shit. Look, shout out Monty, man. Him and I.
What do you think about this? All right, so first of all, I wanna point this out is that for anybody who has a qualm with the picture or whatever, I literally pressed play on the Twitter video and then hit Control-Alt-5 on my screen capture joint. So this is the exact most random. But Monty, and I first appreciate any contributor, but Cody, I got your back through and through.
Yes, sir.
Like I get upset when motherfuckers be coming at you unnecessarily. What I would say, but here, you know what? You make your bed, you say your shit, you got to deal with it. I don't come in and be talking shit too much. But there has become an adversarial component to this discussion, and he is the number one Bryce supporter in the history of the world.
Him and Josh Norris, yeah.
Oh, he loves Josh Norris because Josh Norris is the white
Monty.
Well,
they both
but
have
the
this.
fact is that this motherfucker put up a video, and you know what? Look, first, I'm not trying to talk shit to you, Monty. So you probably get mad if you heard this. You ain't gonna listen to the podcast.
He's not gonna even hear this.
No, but my point about the French Revolution is we're at the point where people are beefing at BMW parking lots.
You know what's funny about Monty? This is not even the first time for him. He's been.
Well, I mean, I get like that. I get mad. I would be the same. I would do the same shit. But this is how bad it is.
Dude,
I would fight a motherfucker in the parking lot for some shit they said to me.
What I'm saying is, this is not the first time that like him and a dude have been beefing online, and the Monty was like, "Oh, this is where I am. Meet up with me, and we'll fucking throw that." Like, bro, dude, look, Monty's my guy.
Bad.
Like me and Monty.
Yeah, but it's bad if that's
we
where
go
it's
back
at.
and forth. But also at the same time, like, bro, y'all gotta know when y'all looking like clowns, man. Like, why even let people bring you to that level, bro? And I've even said this to him before. Like,
we didn't get like that over Cam, bro. Even
no,
the Ford
but
effort, like this is what I'm saying. This is how bad it is.
That's why it pisses me off, though, Tony. Look, if you believe in Bryce, that's fine. But Bryce has done nothing to this point to deserve your fierce admiration. I understood it with Cam Newton because Cam Newton literally shouldered this team for a long time.
And he was the greatest college football player ever.
Right now,
let's
Bryce
put that
Young
out.
Greatest
football
the greatest
outside
Heisman ever. Right now, Bryce has done fuck all. And there are certain people that are willing to fight to the death to defend
That's
him.
not the problem.
And say that everything else around him is the issue. It is the issue. Tony.
The problem is things are that bad.
Of people that believe like that.
No, the problem really is that things are so bad that that's where we're at.
I mean, if it's not
devouring your own, if you want to use the French Revolution terminology, it's eating your own children, as they would say, is you're trying to do good, but we are at a point, CK, where we're like taking down people that care about us.
Right. I mean, well, I think that's across the board. And that's the problem is, here's the thing. The idea that Bryce Young, again, and there's, like we talked about, a subset, right? There's a lot of people that are going to look at Bryce and say, he can do no wrong. Anything that's going wrong is not his fault, right? They're like a 5% of the population, but they're the loudest, right? The other side is the loudest. On the other side are the people that are saying it's 100%. He's a bust. There's no reason to continue. Let's trade him away. Though that's the other people that are the unreasonable. Those are the loudest people in this fight, right? I think the majority of people fall in the middle of this and would probably say that Bryce shoulders some blame, but the idea that the difference between what Cam had and what Bryce had is substantially different, right? Not only did Cam obviously have some physical gifts, but he did come into a good offensive line. He had a Hall of Fame, potentially Hall of Fame left tackle in Jordan Gross, Ryan Khalil. He had Steve Smith. He had Greg Olsen. I mean, the dude had weapons that we don't have now. We had a stable coaching situation all of a sudden. I say stable. Obviously, we didn't know that at the time. But I think that's the difference. Cam was able to succeed because there were things around him that allowed him to succeed. I'm not saying he wouldn't have been better than Bryce in this situation at prime Cam era, but I think
Did you not watch him? The motherfucker was special, dude.
No, I'm not saying that it wasn't good, right? I remember those times.
We can put Bryce Young on any team Cam Newton played, and maybe it's better than what he is now, but it ain't no Cam Newton.
No, I'm not saying it's going to be Cam Newton. I never once said that. I'm stating that when we're talking about the differences of why we can talk about Bryce Young and still be optimistic about him is that we don't know. We can't compare those two seasons, because even if Bryce was on that team, he would look significantly better than he does now, just based off of the weapons in the offensive line that he had.
I can just look at Cam Newton. This is always what I said about Cam Newton. And this, you can take it what you want about Bryce Young. You can take it about anybody. But if we're in a backyard game of anything, like flip cup, horse, football, Cam Newton's my number one pick in every fucking thing. I'm like, I'll take that big, beautiful, athletic motherfucker right there. Number one.
Would you take Bryce over Cam?
Would not be my first.
Whoa, that's
I know.
wild,
That's what I'm saying.
dude.
First, and look, this is where this has gotten really uncomfortable for me as a podcaster and as a fan, is I've been very open about my attraction for Cam Newton, right?
Dude, you have a way of making it sound more cringe.
I try to every time. I love
it.
to say it like that. So I also thought I was yearning for another quarterback, and then I got a little taste, and I was like, "Man, I miss Cam." I thought that's exactly what I thought. Let's go to the next call. Tell me if we already heard this
boys.
one.
Thanks for doing this tonight and all the other nights. This is such a fucking frustrating season. I don't even know where to start with this one, except to say that I've been patient. I've been a Bryce supporter for most of the year, making excuses for him. This now I know he's been dealt a tough deck here to deal with here, but you've got to show me, if you're the guy, you've got to somewhere along the line show me flashes of brilliance, right? We weren't expecting a 11-6 season this year, or we knew that there would be growing pains, but to be the guy, you've got to show me something, some flash of brilliance every now and then, and I just don't see it with this kid. I've seen rookies all over the league have moments of brilliance like this, from Anthony Richardson early on before he got hurt to, of course, CJ Stroud, who's lighting it up. Now I got Will Levis, looks fired up and energetic and looks like a leader of fucking men, to hell, even Tyson Bagent in Chicago, undrafted, has had moments where he's looked good. Now I got DeVito in New York tearing it up, and it goes on and on and on. And I haven't seen any moments of brilliance where he's risen above the limitations of this roster. I think at this point, I said it weeks ago, to keep trotting him out there is doing a disservice to this team. I think you owe it to the team and to all the people that are trying to keep their jobs for next year. I'm not talking about the coaching staff. I'm talking about players. Hell,
That's an interesting take. I like this.
Put Dalton in. And if you have a significant improvement, then you know more about what you truly have with this offense, with these skill
I said
position
the same
players.
thing.
And you'll know how much of
At
the
least we would
Bryce
know.
still needs. And like I said, I've been on his side for most of the year, but I find myself growing increasingly despised with him. I hate the way he stands at the podium on a press conference and says the same thing over and over. I got to be better.
What else is he supposed to say?
I got to be better. I got to be better. You got to execute. The way he pouts his lips, he's got a punchable face to me now. Like,
oh my
Sean
God,
Payton. It's just, it annoys the shit out of me.
I can't wait.
And then,
I love the honesty.
in the
Let
broadcast
it
Sunday,
flow.
they showed a camera shot of the huddle from like the feet up, from the ground up. You see the feet and the legs of all the players. And in the back there, he is standing straight leg. His legs are straight together. His feet are together, like he's a fucking ballerina. Who stands that way?
Oh my God! All right, so here one thing, because I want
Don't
to
cut him off.
celebrate.
Did you cut him
It
off?
cut his own self
All right,
off.
I'm just making sure.
Oh no, I didn't cut him
Let
off.
that man speak his truth. Punchable face.
He's gonna come back. He's got we'll play his little bit more of his call. He's got another minute to go. As a person who doesn't like receipts, I'm gonna call up my own receipt. And I asked this question when we hired Frank Reich, and I heard him in his first talkings or whatever, and then we heard Bryce Young. Is that they're so nice, they're so proper.
Yeah,
say all the right shit, right? And I asked this question. I mean, somebody can go dig it up. I'm not gonna go dig it up because I got a lot of fucking defunct Italian
we got some
families
things in
to
our
do.
lives.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna do it. But you can check it out. I know I said this is like at what point does that perfect response become inadequate to us? Right. And what he is up there, what he just called out was he's mad at Bryce for saying what he should say. Now we're tired of his demeanor. We're tired of, like, you know what? Him being cool, calm, collected, super smart, blaming. Those are now problems.
Right. And now it annoys people. Because
they were strengths when we went in. And I was wondering what week it would be. And we're seeing it is that people are saying this is Bryce should be up there. What should he be, CK? Should he be mad?
I don't know. I really don't know that
Yeah,
there's going to
he
be.
should just be himself.
He's doing exactly what he should do. The difference here is like when I think back to when Matt Rule in his first season, he would say stuff on the podium and people would get mad about it, and we'd be defending him, saying, "What else is he supposed to say? You can't. You have to say certain things. You can't throw people under the bus, yada, 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 right?" And eventually we became so distasteful, or we had such disdain, rather, for Matt Rule that all of those things we thought that were reasonable at one time became a reason to hate him, right? They just added to that. Things that were once possibly a positive became negatives. And I think that's just a natural. It's similar to, and some people in the chat may be able to understand this more, but it's simpler. It's simple like this. Like I as a debt collector, I talk to a lot of people who go through divorces, right? And you hear,
let me talk to you right now.
Right. You have a ton of love for somebody when you get married, right? And all these things you find so appealing, so amazing, and they're just like the best things about people. And then you go through a divorce, and all of a sudden, all of those same things are the reason you can't stand to be around that person. When your opinion changes of a person, those things that you thought were positives turn into a reason to hate them more.
All right. You know what it is not winning. And I knew, and what the ultimate thing of all of these messages resonate well enough when there's enough success.
I'm wondering if he's just too far on the other end of Cam Newton. Remember how people?
No, I don't think it's either that. I think it doesn't matter.
No, hear
If
me
you're
out. I'm
not
talking about-
winning, you can be mad.
No
You
doubt.
can
But
yell.
I'm
What?
saying,
What?
even on the personality spectrum, like to all the people that thought Cam Newton was too much and too extra, and they wanted him to be more quote unquote quarterback, which again I know everybody felt was very layered when they talked about it, but Bryce is almost too far to the other end. He's almost like a little too nice, a little too one note, a little,
Would
I
you-
think when you add that on top of all the losing, and again, I'm not saying that's like a personality flaw or something.
No,
but
it just becomes.
I feel like people are saying that they're not seeing enough anger and emotion out of him, and that he's almost too even keel when it comes.
It has
to
nothing to do with any of that. It just has to do with losing.
I think there's a part of it.
Message would have been fine if we're 7-9.
Right.
That
Well,
message is fine for everything else. When you are on the rocks or whatever it is, he has become part of the problem.
The part of it that I think that is interesting to me, I was actually thinking about this today. I drove by a Bojangles. I'm like, oh wait, isn't Bryce sponsored by? Doesn't he have a spokesman like position with them? And I just don't hear anything about that. You don't see anything about that. And one of the things I was thinking about, even if Bryce was having a really good year, right? He was even, let's say he was even having a CJ Stroud type of year. Like, are you calling him as a business owner to have him be your spokesperson?
Hell yeah.
No, you're not.
Yes, if he's
not with his
Cam Newton blowing up.
No, he has
CJ,
no personality.
did you say CJ Stroud?
Yeah, I'm saying if Bryce is having a CJ Stroud type of year.
Oh my god, we be making that. Look, no, you're wrong, CK. If he was blowing it up, you know what we're doing? We're running back that Cam Newton commercial. We're running back that Cam Newton commercial. That little kid fucking talking shit to him, and it's gonna be Bryce. We're gonna be doing. No, man, if this motherfucker was tearing it up.
There's a reason.
He's the face of the world.
There's a reason that you have people with an incredible charisma that are the faces of national brands.
He has that. He just sucks. He's just on a losing team.
I don't think he has that.
Tony, you're missing the point. Even they would give him all the endorsements. But every good quarterback, every good quarterback that's balling out is going to get endorsements. What he means to say is that Bryce is not like
I get it.
overly exuberant when it comes to his personality.
No, and it doesn't have to be exuberant, but you guys are both right. I don't think you're saying. I think you are right. It's like there is a an X factor that brings you in.
Hang on.
Like, do you think he would be the face of do you think he would be on the cover of a Madden game?
Yes, if he was balling out, yes. But I think you have a great point. I think you have a great point. Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think so either. But dude, you know how we call Mr. Strats the patron saint of the C3 Panthers podcast? But dude, he is for a reason, man. He said, ho, ho, ho! Merry early Christmas to the C3 podcast and bestowed 20 gifted memberships to people in the chat. Hit the round of applause, Tony, and give that man a hand.
Are we
Let's
also
go? We appreciate you, Stat, to the homie dog.
Also add his donation as well.
You're at it?
Oh, did I miss a super chat? Oh, I sure did, man. My fault. He says you can't keep saying I'm going to try harder and keep getting D's with no change. At some point, I don't buy you're putting it in or you're putting it all in.
That sounds really nasty. I don't know what he's saying here is this. Is that I don't know what that meant.
He
But
keeps on getting no
bad.
change, but he keeps on
You're
putting it
not
all
putting
in.
in the work. You're not putting in the effort.
Nah,
to
there
get
was a lot
better
of D's and the tip and the point and
putting
the,
all in. Yeah, putting everything in.
Nah, don't blame that on me, bro. Tell me if we heard this call. Oh yeah, we did because I got to play the second part of it.
Sorry, second call. I was mentioning the feet and the.
If your
and the
first
camera
call
shots
wasn't
in the
so
huddle.
good,
Now
we
his
wouldn't have played
feet are perfectly side by side, standing together like he's getting ready to start some ballet dance or something. Like, who actually stands that way in real life?
He's talking about
I've
the
never
way
seen a
he's
player stand that way.
the V
Just little
dotted
things
him.
like that just started to grate and annoy me. We need more fire out of him. We need him to be a leader and not be so politically correct all the time. Show some fucking emotion. Lead your team. If someone runs the wrong route, it's okay to let them know about it. Damn, channel that inner Tom Brady or whatever you got to do to start making some fucking progress. And like I said, the Panthers, by continuing to trot him out there, have ruined all the goodwill that a lot of people like myself who have been supporters of him and willing to give him a chance, but they're ruining a lot of that goodwill by continuing to trot him out there and let him make these same mistakes.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Sorry, guys. That's all.
Well, that goes to the question about
Better luck next year, I guess.
Continuing to start Bryce Young or not, right? Almost feel like if we go another, like it's too late to sit him now. And Tabor came out today or yesterday. Chris Tabor, interim coach, said he doesn't think it's best in his best interest to sit him. And there's a reasonable argument to that, and that is to learn on the job, to try to get better against real-time play, and that's how you do it. The question is Bryce Young being psychologically damaged, and are you doing more or is he regressing?
Is there any benefit to keep him out there?
Right. All right. So CK, you're a perfect person to ask on this, who was early advocate for saying like this might not be the best situation for him to grow.
Right.
Are we at a point now where it's too late to bench him?
No.
Okay.
No, I think I think right now the team has only gotten worse, and to bench him now would allow, again, for a proper diagnosis of the symptoms here. Right now, it's very easy for people like myself to point to offensive line and the wide receivers and all those things that we have argued in Bryce's defense as the reason why he hasn't been successful. But if you're a true Panthers fan, you want to know if it's in fact a Bryce issue or if it's in fact the other issues that are on the team. And one of the things you can do to help you figure that out this late in the season is have somebody else take the reins and see what happens, right? If it continues, then we continue to have the same questions. But if it doesn't continue, then you have one of those questions answered and you have to figure out how to fix it, right? I think by benching him, you might say it hurts his confidence, but those last few games are going to give you, the next coach, a better understanding of what the real issues are with this team. And if it starts with Bryce, there's a lot of focus that you can put on that guy.
All right, let's go to the next call.
This is G, baby. I wasn't going to make a second call, but now that I'm watching the show, or I'm able to watch the show right now, dude, I seem just a bunch of fuck shit, dude. Accountability. What about the accountability for all the fucking all-star fucking coaches we fucking signed? What about the accountability for all the fucking
don't worry, they're fired.
Trades Scott Fitterer made? What about the accountability for all these fucking trash-ass players we brought in? but we're going to put the accountability on a fucking 21, 22-year-old rookie? Y'all sound like a bunch of bitches, man.
Oh, you're not allowed to put
That's the
accountability
biggest
on a
talk
21-year-old?
I've ever heard. So let's put the
Jesus,
accountability on the 21, 22-year-old rookie, but we're not going to put the accountability on the all-star head coach and QB coach and all these other fuck-ass niggas, man.
Baby.
They were
But no,
fired.
we're
What
going
do
to
you
put
mean no
on the
accountability?
fucking rookie. Man, that's a bunch of fuck shit,
Yeah,
man.
he shouldn't be
How about
accountable
we
at
talk
all,
about
G.
fuck-
Thank you, G.
We should
baby.
just rub
I
his
love you.
ass like do all fucking
No, I
day,
love it,
man.
but
He's a walking excuse machine for Bryce because he calls them the truth.
no,
And he
like,
never
and I
earned
don't-
that title. He never earned the truth.
He is my friend. I love G Baby. But don't act like we're holding him, Bryce, over accountable. If anything, we've held him under accountable. All of those coaches were fired. The whole team sucks. We get that. We incredibly understand that this team is way stinkier than we ever could have fucking imagined. And I think one of the best points I made in 10 years of podcasting was last week on the post-game show where I said we hired Frank Reich to prevent this exactly, which is we didn't need a great team. We didn't need to go out and win 10 games. We needed a team that was competent, well run by NFL people, and incrementally developing a rookie quarterback. That's why we hired Frank Reich in the wake of Matt Rule. This is a complete disaster. It's the opposite of what we tried to have. You could have sworn we tried to hit a double, bro, and we struck out and they smashed an ice cream cone in our face. Like, it's the worst possible thing that could have happened with this team. To the point that a fucking tight end is so upset about how this went that he tried to forget.
Yeah, he tried to forget. He thought he was with the Ravens, and he's not anymore. Poor guy. Fuck.
My point being is
He's not developing either. Man.
I
He's not
understand you, baby, that the rest of the team fucking stinks. But don't act like we're coddling. Right. I think this, if anything, I would say this. Look at the panel on the screen right now. CK is to my left. I don't know what I am to you. I'm in the middle. Cody is to my I feel like I'm in the middle of what the Bryce Young debate or discussion is. We got one person that fuck that, G baby. This team sucks, bro. It's not just the coaching. Bryce has been less than whelming.
Well, it's less than advertised as well. Like, I think
I looked at him, CK, last week, and the first time I'm going to say this, CK, and I want to say it to you because you love him, or you're the guy that, we have to play our roles. I said this, and I never said this. I felt like he looked like a college quarterback.
Yeah. I think that, and let me ask you a question. Do you feel like this is a prime example of where you go in the draft? Like, what team you land on is going to dictate your rest of your career? Because,
it's a good question.
There's been a lot.
I think it's a combination, CK. And what I would say is that, yes, if you're going to be early in the draft, you're going to a shitty team. Like, it's not like you're walking in. Look, I want to fucking never hear about Tom Brady or whatever because they're a 6th round or what. Tommy DeVito, his fucking Italian sausage is way bigger than Tom Brady's. And the reason being is Tom Brady walked into a team that's a fucking dynasty and he excelled. Like, so I'm not trying to take away from Tom Brady, but let's not just be like, oh, you can find a guy in the 6th round. He's going to turn around a team. He went to a team that had a great coach, had a great staff, like all these other things. And then he turned into a great player. So I think you're exactly right. CK is like, as in going to a terrible team, one player, like it's just so much to ask. I think the sad part about what we've learned about Bryce, I haven't learned anything about Bryce Young other than he's having a terrible rookie season. That's all I've learned. I don't know who he's going to be in the future. But what I did learn about the Carolina Panthers is that they were way worse on every level than advertised. And when we came into this show and said, hey, how many wins do you think the Panthers are going to have this season? How many people before the season started said, oh, well, we had 7 wins last year. We should be able to be in that range, right? We should be in the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9
or higher.
Right. No, this team was fucking terrible. It is terrible. Everything is about it terrible. And Cody, can we bring about the Panthers social media when it talks about Pro Bowls? They're so terrible. Look at this shit. You got to take the comment down or else we're not going to see it.
Well, let me read this real quick. Anthony says, do you need to stop? This is Anthony with the $4.99. Appreciate you, Ant. Says, do you need to stop? As a huge Bryce Young fan, he deserves blame. You can still believe in him.
Oh, look at this. They turn on each other.
Hold him to a standard. Let's hope we help him. Agreed, Anthony. See what I told you? Anthony always comes around. It takes Anthony a little while, but he comes around, and I respect him for doing so, man. Yeah, Xavier Woods not happy that the Panthers are pushing everybody to go to the Pro Bowl, except him. They put out Derrick Brown, Frankie Louvu, Adam Thielen, Brian Burns, Johnny Hecker. Even Sam Franklin got a Pro Bowl nod from the Panthers Twitter account, but not poor Xavier Woods.
How about this? Is that he said that on their account? Not that it's a problem. Maybe they should have made something fun out of it. But this is CK. Not good. It's not necessarily a great sign. And you know what? Actually, in fairness to the Panthers account, should he be ahead of Sam Franklin and Johnny Hecker?
Those guys are only in there as special teamers. Sam Franklin is probably one of the best special team players in the NFL right now. So I would say that his position there isn't in lieu of Xavier Woods. Derrick Brown and Frankie Louvu are the ones. So they've got three people
gets. All the first 3 are gets.
Right.
Brian Burns, I would say, like,
he's been our Pro Bowler. Like, he's been consistently in the Pro. Like, I think if nothing else, it's name recognition that will get him into the Pro Bowl. If nothing else, right? I just don't know that Xavier Woods. I get why he feels that way. Like, you have the team pushing people
money
on
probably a lot of things.
But the reality is, I mean, as much as I love Xavier Woods and the way he plays the game.
He's made some good plays this year. He's been a good player. He's been hurt, but CK,
you can't. There's no shot in the world that you're going to put him on this list.
Do you think though that this is teasing and joking from him, or a continued sign of just fucking?
Dude,
pride?
I don't know.
Is this a fun thing? Is this a fun damn? And I know, look, it's how are we really supposed to know? It's ... damn.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I guess we're reading into, if you can read into every Bryce Young pass, every Bryce Young incompletion, if you can read into Thomas Brown's wife's post, is this teasing and fun? I would probably say yes, because I don't think I think he made a great case.
How can any player on this team feel like they are 100% deserving of the Pro Bowl?
I don't think anybody does.
Right, so that's why I'm saying it's probably a joke. It's probably like, damn, I don't even get no love from the Twitter account. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I don't think it was serious.
I mean, but it's probably one of those things that this joke hits harder if we're a little bit better.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think he's right. First of all, I don't have a problem with it, but what I am saying is this is just the fact that the tweet exists is interesting. Let's go to another call. I gotta speed this up.
Sweat Dog Espresso. What's up?
The boy.
Tomorrow, your boy turns 34.
Ah,
That's
shit.
34 years without child support from some bum ass motherfucker.
I ain't
Some
paying you
bum-ass
shit, motherfucker. I ain't paying you $1.
But let's be real. With this team, you talk about Bryce Young getting compared to CJ Stroud, Will Levis, that fucking guy in New York, that fucking guy, that fucking guy, that undrafted fucking rookie. He's fucking killing it right now. Those guys, yes, we're going to compare Bryce to those, but we're also going to compare them to next year's class. Caleb Williams, Drake May, because we could have had those, but we don't. And I'm seeing Bill Belichick is possibly getting fired, which means he's definitely coming here.
No, shut the fuck
idiot.
up. All right, next call. We're not listening to no Bill Belichick shit.
Was that the end of his call?
I'm turning it off. Next call.
It's his birthday,
guys.
man.
It's the girl
his
that makes
birthday.
him howl, a.k.a. Joey the Blind.
Birthday. I don't care about my own kids.
He says it's I
Look,
guess
and he
that's
didn't say anything else. Look, here, let's listen to the rest of it. You're right. Thank you. Bill Belichick, I was out. Oh, God. I got to listen to the whole fucking call again.
Well,
my whole life is terrible. Thanks, Kev, for making my life terrible. All right, we're going to listen to
baby,
all
I
of
wasn't
it.
going to make a second call, but now that
No,
I'm
it's not
watching
even
the show,
G, baby.
I'm able to watch.
No, I want to skip it. It's too
Hey
fucking
guys,
late now.
it's the
Fucking
girl that makes him howl, a.k.a. Joey the Blind Panther. First off, thank you to that British guy that gave me the shout out. I mean, how nice it was to get a shout out from somebody with such an exotic British accent. I mean, there's some Irish brogue mixed with some Northern English in there. Ah, what an accent. Anyway, you're rocking that accent, dude. Keep at it.
I thought he almost said accent.
Sorry
We
you're
know how
having
Joey
to suffer
gets.
through this. But so are we. Guys, Sunday's game was the worst game I have ever watched or listened to as a Panthers fan. And that's saying something because I went to the Miami game 2 years ago. And it was so bad. I went to the Miami game 2 years ago. I went to the Baltimore game last year. Oh, and by the way, Kristen, if you want to see videos of your old stomping grounds, I have videos from when I went to DC for almost a week last year on my channel. I have playlists. I have a playlist of it, including when I went to the Panthers game in Baltimore. But as a side note, yeah, I went to that game, went to the Miami game. Both games had me flirting with chicks in the second quarter because there's just nothing going on.
Shocker.
Nothing good anyway. The Dolphins were whooping our ass even in 21 when they weren't the most, the biggest offensive juggernaut. It's bad. And I don't want to say it can't get any worse because we said that shit last year and look where we are now. I mean, and we don't have a number one pick this year. Like, we don't have a first round pick this year. So, I mean, we got a long road ahead of us, but we'll keep pounding through it.
Yes,
anyway, guys.
All the girls in the chat are now nervous.
Wow.
First of all, love Joey, the Blind Panther. Greatest growl there is. Girls, watch out, man. I mean, my man's a lover. He's not a fighter. Don't hate on him.
His love language is touch.
What does that mean? Oh,
I mean,
because he has to feel your face.
funny, man.
Sorry, that was slow. I was slow on that. I was like,
that was slow
I
as
felt like that
fuck,
was.
dog.
I was worried. I was trying to defend him and not being like in trouble. And you're like, oh, I'm just I know. All right, I got it. I got it. My bad. Next call. Next call. It took a minute.
Jeff here. I think all the main subjects have been kind of covered already. I don't want
to,
beat the dead horse on Bryce and Thomas Brown and all that stuff. Besides, I think I've already made my point in several of the mini podcasts with Pickle and D's. But what I would say is, I don't know if maybe by the time you get to this call, you already have pulled it up. But I guess that article came out about Belichick they're going to be moving on from him. And I just hope he doesn't come here. I think he's going to.
I agree with you.
I think it's already set in stone at this point. I think if they move on from him, which it looks like they are, Patriots that is, then why would Tepper not do that? Of course he would do that. That's going to be
because Bill Belichick is the
and he would
fucking
take it
rapist
too,
to David
as long as
Tepper.
he gets full reign and gets paid a shitload. Why would he not? So I think that's where we're going to end up.
No.
I would prefer not, but I think that's what.
Can't believe it.
Anyway, actually, you know what? I will say something about Bryce.
Oh, God.
I think we should all just stop beating around the bush and just say, call it how it is, and that he's just kind of mediocre. And until we see anything further from him, that's what he is.
Look at that.
And
I don't mind.
Maybe
he's
does,
walking
maybe
back.
he doesn't.
Strice,
We'll see.
Strats, though, I feel like has been a strong. Maybe I'm wrong.
No,
maybe I'm just appreciating.
I don't think Strats has been too far one way or the other.
Not far, but I don't think we should make a decision on what Bryce is, like what he is, like saying he is mediocre, he is great, he's elite. That's why I'm starting to hate these terms. This season, this motherfucker isn't. Right, is like we could say the same shit with Brian Burns this year. It's like you'd be like, oh, he's elite. He's not elite. Well, guess what? This motherfucker ain't elite this year.
No.
So, but I wanted to talk about the Bill Belichick stuff.
All right, and real quick, I just want to say I think Stats was fair.
Yeah,
I think
totally
to be
fair.
honest, I think mediocre is being nice.
I just think when we say is mediocre, it's a an articulation of the future. He has been right, and this is just semantics. I'm not trying to pick on Strats as the caller, as in, look, is that you can believe that Bryce Young is going to be a good quarterback, and you can also say this has been a shitty ass season. And that's my point, is like what he is now is not what he will be entirely. It may be, but I'm more interested in talking about this Bill Belichick shit. And I don't want to talk long about it, but I will tell you this. There is no fucking way in the history of the world that David Tepper hires Bill Belichick.
No.
Why?
Because you got a motherfucker that brings in the big BD that we're not supposed to talk about and puts it on the table. David Tepper can take his billions and put them in his back pocket every time motherfucking Bill Belichick walks out of the room. He's going to tell David Tepper to shut the fuck up. He's going to tell the media to shut the fuck up. And he might actually talk to the C3 Panthers podcast. Out of everybody, he might talk to them. But you're trying to tell me that a motherfucker that wants a yes, yes, yes man is going to bring in a Bill Belichick who is not only proven and now become a Hall of Fame coach? He's going to fucking big dick David Tepper, and he's going to you don't even want to say the mean
Tony,
words.
don't you think though that like, all right,
no, wrong fit.
But if you don't like Belichick as the coach, fine.
Oh, I love him as a coach. It's not a right fit for the Panthers right now.
If you don't love him as our coach, fine. But you don't think that do you think that David Tepper's ego is so big that he would rather have a yes man rather than one of the most credentialed head coaches to ever live?
CK,
how about this? Wait, stop. How about this?
I want to answer it.
Hold on. But let's take Bill Belichick out of the equation. Let's say it's a Jim Harbaugh. Like, if you have somebody that you
Different
know.
question.
No, because I
That's
think
a
it's
different
the same.
question now.
If it's Belichick or Harbaugh, do you think David Tepper has it within him to hire someone who would very clearly say, no, that's not what we're doing, and I don't care how many billions you're worth, my football expertise is larger than yours?
CK, I think he moved the goalpost on us.
No, you didn't answer the question.
And look, I'm gonna pass it and answer. I'm gonna pass because there's another person in the podcast. But I would say this is those are fundamentally different questions. Is Harbaugh is not Belichick. Right? I mean, he doesn't have the pedigree.
You're getting lost in the sauce. That's not the point.
No,
That's not
and
the
the
point at all.
last thing is I also think that Bill Belichick is a point in his life and also just has a personality where he just says, I don't give a fuck, motherfuckers. CK, there's got to be a difference. We can't hire a dinosaur like Bill Belichick.
I don't disagree. I think if there's any, the reason that I think that it wouldn't be something, I think there's that part of it that is he's unable to adapt, right? That was just
older.
Well, hang in there. He's unable to adapt into the current view of the NFL. And the reason I say that is because when you look at his teams, they don't do what they used to do, which is like they used to scheme up teams to where it was impossible for you to win in the second half. You might get them in the first half, but that second half, they were going to beat you.
Why do they not do that anymore? One fucking 2 words. Tommy DeVito. No, Tom Brady.
I'm not letting you off.
The simple thing is that has he ever built a franchise from the beginning to the end? He's too old for that, and that's fine. He's the greatest coach. I'm not trying to take away from that. He's not the right fit at this moment, CK.
Right, he isn't. He's not the right fit, and the Patriots are 2-9. But I'm not letting you off the hook because my question is about David Tepper, and you didn't get my question. I'm saying, is David Tepper's ego so big that he would choose to hire someone with a lesser acumen just because they would be a yes man, rather than a proven coach and a proven team builder who would have the balls to tell him no? Like, if you could hire that type of guy and it turns around your franchise, but they're going to be willing to tell you off and tell you no, does David Tepper have too big of an ego to even make that hire?
Bring that shit. And I will tell you this, it's not David Tepper's ego that's the problem. It's going to be a Bill Belichick ego that's the problem. And what I mean by that is that this is a guy who has all the know-how, the experience, all the things that whatever. He's going to walk in there and he's going to big dick David Tepper. And you say, oh, I might not have $1 billion, but I got $800 million in the bank and I got all these rings, motherfuckers. And guess what? Your wife is little and cute, but I go on the beaches with these bitches. And you know what? I am impersonable somehow, but everybody fucking loves me still in the press conferences. No, Bill Belichick's ego is going to big balls David Tepper's out the room. And so what I would say to you is I don't know if David Tepper's ego can handle it, because all he has done is surround himself with a bunch of bitches. And yes, man, sorry, folks. Yeah, but what happens when somebody has a bigger ego than he has an ego? We need an alpha, but we don't necessarily need someone who is going to try to push our. I almost feel like Bill Belichick would be like this. What do you think a Monday interview between David Tepper and Bill Belichick would be? Because we have heard about these meetings between Frank Reich and David Tepper. Seriously and honestly, I feel like Bill Belichick would sit in there and be like, meeting held, and then get the fuck up and walk out right in front of this motherfucker. He doesn't even answer the questions. This motherfucker is the boss. He's the dom. He's a real Italian.
Well, I think I'll just say this real quick. I think the first time that Belichick has a conversation with David Tepper, I think there's going to be a level of like, I can't work for this guy. Like, because David Tepper's going to try to talk like
is
he knows.
David Tepper going to say that?
No, Bill Belichick.
He's just going to have to pay him a big check and then tell him to leave.
I think Bill Belichick is going to look at have just in a matter of 5 minutes and discover that David Tepper has no idea how to play football.
Well, Bill Belichick would also say that to like a waitress. But I love Bill Belichick. I think that he has become, it's a stick at this point. Like, I think him and his press conferences, like, I think he is embracing charisma in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, we used to be like, oh, this guy was, and now is like, what do you think we should do? Score more points. And he just leaning into this shit, bro. I want to see. There's no way.
That's how he's always been. That's how he's always
been. No, he's leaning more and more into it every day.
Dude, he's always been that one note, one answer type of dude.
I can't wait till this motherfucker rocks.
I'll say it like this. I'll say it like this. I wouldn't mind Bill Belichick, the coach. I do not want Bill Belichick, the GM.
All right, let's take another. This is C Dog. We gotta get through these calls. We got 3 more after this.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, C Dog, 1983 TV. But my main reason for calling in tonight is to apologize to all the Bryce fans. God called you some terrible things, retarded, and some other stuff. If you like Bryce Young, hey, that's on you. You know, I'm not going to call you dumb or retarded anymore or blind, you know. But as for me, I can't see it. Like the monkeys, you know, with the monkeys covering their eyes, ears, and shit, you know. I can't see it. I don't see how y'all don't smell this shit, you know what I'm saying? Pure garbage. It was coming out of Charlotte right now. This funkiness, the last goddamn 6 years. But hey, if you like Bryce, hey, go ahead. I don't like him. I don't want him here. I don't want to sit here and waste no fucking time on this fucking trash. You know what I'm saying? I take out my trash. My trash get picked up every fucking Monday. You know, I've been put Bryce Young ass up out of here. You know, that's just for me. Well, you know, I just want to apologize for everybody else, you know, who likes the man, you know. I think it's good, but, you know, and what the crazy thing is for the people who saying we can get them and help and all this bullshit, they can't even tell me what the fuck they seen good from this fucking midget leprechaun all year. They can't tell me one goddamn thing he did good, you know. But, you know, like I say, I'm just calling to apologize for the fans that like Bryce. I'll call you some terrible things. Real quick, whenever you come in here, hit the motherfucking like button. You know what I'm saying? These boys got them go live every motherfucking Tuesday, every goddamn Friday. The free for all on Friday. You know, they got them live every goddamn Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Shout out goddamn Panther Pickle. Shout out the whole goddamn C3. You know what I'm saying? C baby, where your ass at, man? Been motherfucking hiding behind it. You can't hide behind this little motherfucking midget. You know what I'm saying? You motherfuckers talking about this motherfucker gonna be better than Cam Newton. This motherfucker could never feel Cam Newton motherfucking cliques. The fuck wrong with you motherfuckers? But go ahead with that silly shit. You know what I'm saying? Talking about God, he gonna have better numbers than Cam Newton and all this bullshit. Stop. But hey, you believe in him? I don't. We need definitely a quarterback next year. Period. You know what I'm saying? Have motherfucking goddamn QB battle and motherfucking training camp. You know what I'm saying? But I hope everybody have a great day. I hope everybody have a motherfucking Merry Christmas and a motherfucking Happy New Year. But goddamn, our band cancel Christmas on this goddamn team. You know what I'm saying? Goddamn, thanks to goddamn motherfucking Bryce Young. You know.
Hey, I cut off, man. Shout out to C Dog, always repping the C3
No,
Panthers podcast, man.
That was the end of his. I mean, he sort of got
Yeah.
cut off, but
Yeah. Hey man, shout out to C. I mean, look, I don't know.
Black brand ambassador.
Dude, how about this? C Dog always, he's like G Baby. He's always gonna speak the truth and his truth, whether you fucking like to hear that shit or not. And that's why I love and respect C Dog. Always have, always will. And
Top
hey,
person I want to hang out with in the podcast. Like if I want to hang out with people from the podcast, and I'm not going to leave anybody behind, so don't get upset if I don't say your name. But I would probably want to party with C Dog and like hang with him. And then we would say, "What's up to G Baby? Love you." I feel like D from Sanford, we need him to host. Like, I bet you if he hosted it, like we would have the best food. Everybody be happy.
Yeah.
We'd be arguing G Baby and this and that. And we're not going to invite Joey because he would just do what we all want to do.
Well, I mean, if we invited Joey, we would have to make sure that all of the females in attendance are warned. Hey, watch out for Joey. He can, you know, he might all of a sudden think there's some braille below your chest and want to read the signs.
Kev says, "What
all
do
you gotta
asking
do
for?" My
all you
dad. No, you're not invited, you bitch ass motherfucker. You came out to the bar and you're like, "Oh, I can only hang for 18 minutes before I gotta try to go meet my bitch ass girlfriend." No, I love your girlfriend.
All you got to do for Joey is basically create a diversion, like in the by using the Afro Man joke. You know,
have you ever seen Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Oh, who hasn't seen that movie?
I think that all right, so it's a joke on Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is the main movie they're joking on. But in the beginning, the guy he's blind and he has the 3D porn. You guys don't remember that? In the very beginning of Men in Tights, the blind guy has got the, all right, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, dude,
love all of y'all. Hate you, Kev. And if I was going to hang out with any of you, it would be all of you, actually. The person you probably wouldn't want to hang out is me. Let's see. We got a couple more calls. We got to go.
All I can say, we got a matter of fact, we draft a sissy quarterback. He's a freaking bum.
Sissy.
A bum. He needs to be benched. He's overrated. I will tell Tepper, thanks a lot for jumping the gun, trading up, giving up our capital to Chicago Bears. Thanks to you, Tepper. Matter of fact, that shit organization is gonna be fired next year. You need to bench that old faggot Bryce Young. He's a
faggot. They got wild real fast.
All right.
Damn. More divisive than Cam Newton by a mile, Tony.
Nah, people said shit about my Cam. My name is Johnson. All right, but you're right. It should not be. To be honest, I am so surprised at this moment that we are this divided, this trenched in. It's wild. But all right, what else we got in the show? We got 2 more calls after this, but there's probably, is there anything else we need to talk about? We talked about Xavier Woods. We talked about, can we talk about the initiative?
Do you have the energy for it?
No, we got 2 more calls. We're gonna put one. Actually, we only have 1 more call because one's 3 seconds. So I think it's the same person.
I said let's do the call and then let's talk.
All right, here's the last call. Here's the last call then.
What's up, fellas? It's the Real AP up here in the Yadkin County, North Carolina. Y'all know where it's at. Anyway, C3, I'm on the hill with you, man. I'm down with you, man. Bryce needs to be set up.
in an environment to be able to produce or try to produce. If you can't, then cut him. I wasn't a Bryce fan. I wanted Stroud, but I'm a Panther fan. I got to roll with it. So I'm with you, brother. I agree with everything you say, CK. Love you, man. Tony, still waiting on my shirt, man.
Oh my God!
Got here.
You know what,
Cody?
Oh my God!
I love you, man. I love all you guys, but Cody, I love what you do. Keep all these dudes in line, man.
Appreciate you,
You're
brother.
doing an awesome job.
That's the real C3.
Keep them in line. Keep slapping them around, whatever you do, man. All right. I love all y'all.
Appreciate you, man.
Fans
Thanks
in
so
the
much.
chat, fans of the show. Wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. An early Merry Christmas. Peace out.
Love you, brother. Look, real fan of the show. His name's Real C3AP. Pretty sure that's who it was. But been a forever friend of the community. And again, what I want you guys to remember is that if you're listening, calling in, if you're commenting in the chat, if you're talking shit about me or Cody's stupid ass takes about, I don't know, whatever, you're one of us.
Whatever
right?
I'm right about now.
Right, exactly. I want to be clear on this is as I started a podcast and as these fellas right here are brothers and you are my family in the chat room, I never wanted this to be about you listening to me. I mean, sure, there's a point where you have this is my shit. I mean, I've got an opinion. I do want you to listen to me, because it's a podcast. But I never wanted to, or actually, maybe I won't say never. I don't want to be a person that tells you what to think. That's it. Is like, I want you to help me figure out what to think. And the number's 252-228-5098. We're here all week. We're about to end this joint here. But I really think that this is why we actually are going to make it through some of this shit, is because if this podcast was about us telling you about this, that, this, whatever, then at some point we would just run out of opinions, but B, it would be about us. And that's what I would do. I mean, yeah, I want you to call up and say, I love you, Tony. I want you to write. I love those things. It makes me feel good. But we wouldn't be doing this for 11 years if this was about me telling you about football. So, Real AC3P, love you. Love all my fam in the chat. Cody, we got two last things. We got to ice some people up. It's so late. And the reason it's so late is because this stupid Italian motherfucker is feeling a little too good, is drawing everything out. This initiative, though, the Panthers have an initiative for what, December or the last week? What the fuck is this?
Pull it up. I'm pulling up my ice up picks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Actually, I can't pull it up. It says remove. Let me see.
I got you. Oh, hang on.
Next one, maybe. The Carolina Panthers announced this is that December 17th game, because we got to make every game. Like, this game is about cancer survivors. This game is about veterans. And you know what? I'm not trying to diss on any of y'all or that, whatever. But I do have
something.
I have a little suspicion about these big institutions being overly pandering to certain things to draw in. I don't think, first of all, I don't know if a lot of these initiatives are truly genuine. But we'll talk about that in a moment. The Carolina Panthers put out this through the Inspire Change Initiative. Our December 17th game will concentrate on the pillar of representation matters, highlighting our commitment to celebrating Black culture. Wonderful. No problems with those words at all. But then you put up a picture of Inspire Change, and the Panthers are fucking 1-12. Cody.
The comments
for a motherfucking fodder of comments. I had to.
Dude, the comments underneath it are fucking hilarious. And my thing is it didn't matter if it was Black appreciation, LGBT appreciation, Native American appreciation.
Could have been
Everybody's like,
appreciation.
we see you fucking pandering
Oh my god!
because your football team sucks. So look how great and woke and progressive you are. Like, dude, no one gives a shit, man. Like, all those things are great, but all these things, they almost make people more angry because it's like, oh, you're trying to do all these things, but the one thing that we all want you to do, regardless of our race, religion, whatever, we
It's
all
like, you
just
know
want
what?
you to be a good
Give
football
us your
team.
money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. It's
CK, as our resident person that knows how money works a little bit better than the other two that are on the podcast. Two things that come to mind. One, and there was a moment in my life where I got a visceral change happened, and I got upset with myself. I don't know. I was at Food Line with my brother, my friend, very good friend of mine. We're checking out. It's around this time, holiday time. It says, do you want to round up for charity? And I had forever in my life rounded up for charity. I mean, I was like, what the fuck is 87 cents? You know what I'm saying? What is this? He said this to me. He said, and hopefully you will confirm or deny this.
Yeah.
He said this is Food Line takes your 87 cents, turns it into a tax deduction for their company.
Yeah.
As a real charitable. So they sucker you into it. He said, if you want to donate to a charity, donate to a charity. Just fucking use your own money and get your own tax donation.
100%.
CK, this right here, this is where I'm starting to get irritated by these bigger companies where they're like, oh, we use fucking ethically sourced coffee beans.
Right.
Like, we got to spend more money for you to get a tax deduction here?
If you ever, here's the thing that I have that I'll agree with you on. When you see an organization advertise, now this isn't an advertisement, when you're watching television, whether it be a football game or any other program, if you're watching and you see an advertisement, say from like a Wells Fargo, and they're advertising about, we've done this in the community, and this is, we've done all this crazy good stuff. Like we thought you needed to know, and that's it. We're not advertising a product. We're not advertising. We're just letting you know how good of people we are. It's an advert. They're selling something to you. They may not necessarily be primarily doing it. They're selling something to you. This is no different. Right now, what is going on is we talk about the ticket sales. They sell out every year, every game because they have the PSL. Right?
Show them what the tickets are going for right now as it brings this up.
And this is a part of it, right? They're having a hard time selling tickets for $5. Right now, this isn't the Carolina Panthers. This is
it's the secondary market.
This is all resale. But they're having such a hard time moving tickets that they can't even sell them for $5. Now, why this matters to what we just saw? Well, we've got to keep in mind that there's multiple layers to the income during game day for the Teppers and the NFL as a whole. It's the concessions. It's
I bought a jersey
today
off the internet for one of our listeners.
Right. It's the purchasing of merchandise. It's the the alcohol sales. There's a tremendous amount of money they make from people being full in that stadium. And so this is another attempt at trying to basically market people into the stadium. Even if you're only paying $5 per ticket, they've already gotten their money. There's not like whether you pay $5 or not.
That's got nothing to do with the Panthers.
The issue is the attendance is expected to be extremely low.
Yeah, as nobody can get any money for it.
Yeah.
CK though, do you buy materials, or does when someone tells you, all right, here's a good example. I hear some companies say we have a zero carbon influence on the world, right? So they say like you can buy all this shit from us, we're gonna ship it to you, we're gonna do all this, but we have negated, we're a carbon zero joint. We are asking you to donate to us for Black Lives Matter, for this and that. I think what Cody Lashney turned me on to like 7 years ago, which I've been still talking about, virtue signaling, this and that. When we learn that these companies are not carbon zero, they're just fucking paying a fine. Like, oh, we'll pay. Come on. I'm tired of this.
Dude, have you ever heard of
it up for the Panthers is I just don't feel sorry for him. That's the thing. It's not that I don't love the causes. It's not that I don't want to not like help cancer. I'm just tired of fucking cheering for motherfuckers who make all the money, who make us feel terrible.
Yeah. And so I think we rock right into the ice up picks, because that actually goes really well with my ice up pick.
Let's do it.
All right. We have hold on. We got
what?
Was that the last one?
Yeah, we're good.
The last one. Okay.
Yeah, we already moved into
that. That was the last one. Let's do it. Let's do it. Sorry,
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Go ahead, CK.
All right. So for decades, we've been arguing about global warming. Okay. This has been an argument, and the argument is that we're doing all the global warming. Well, I'm going to present to you evidence that we are not the only ones doing global warming.
This is stupid.
Let me know.
I love how this is a redneck Russian experiment. This is a redneck Russians. This is redneck Russians that did this. Okay.
All right. So in 1971, I'm going to read the subtitle. In 1971, engineers from the Soviet Union ignited a fire in a gas-filled hole in the Turkmenistan desert, anticipating that the flames would extinguish them within days. They were surprised when the fire continued to burn. Now, 52 years later, the site known as the Door to Hell is still ablaze. Bro, we've been burning a gas fire pit for 50 years. Like, are you guys surprised about global warming? I'm not. Like, I'm just saying, bro. This is a giant fire pit that's been burning for...
I like how Russian rednecks fucking did this shit. They're like, you know what? Right. Take this.
And here's the other thing. As I was researching this, because I was interested in this, I was like, what? This can't be real. There's actually a coal mine in Pennsylvania that has been burning for longer.
Yeah, I mean, all those are small. It's not like this one little pit.
I know. It's just
but it is symbolic, though, of like, hey, we're going to burn this fire for 97 years or whatever.
Right.
Russian rednecks. I think we should not ice up Russian rednecks, but they're pit. All right. Cody, what you got?
Yeah.
I got 2. And I had more, but you know what? I'm not even going to look for them. I'm going to look for my low-hanging fruit ones that I picked like 3 days ago.
So I've got 3, but they're all relatively...
Then we got a big ping pong, because I might be able to get one more in there. Go one. Show me the first one.
All right. One. Ice up to this mama.
Oh, how am I gonna ice That big old booty.
Eyes up to this mama embarrassing the hell out.
The kid.
Embarrassing the hell out of her son. He's like, no, get the hell off my mama, bro.
Bro, I would
face.
smack that little bitch ass kid. Be
Bro,
like,
look
you're
at
not
his face,
way.
like, get the fuck off my mama.
How about this? Can you rewind it?
Just
What's the
watch it.
best butt in there? I think
Man,
it's this.
there's a lot
Nah,
of
I think it's the
bad-
red one before we even get to this. All right. Sorry, I'm a
Anyway.
butt guy.
All right, but yeah,
All
man,
This
to
poor kid gotta shove. You know what? Shove your mama. Little bitch ass kid. I'm icing him up.
hey man, sometimes
Be a dog and
you
shove
gotta-
that
you gotta shoot
boy.
that thing, so
All right.
legislate that thing when
All
she wants
that
to
shit's
get that
fake.
thing. Look,
All
watch,
right.
here goes
Look,
the
they
dap.
interviewed him after.
Like,
That's
nah.
fake as fuck. All right. What you got, Nas?
Oh, by the way, I don't want to miss this. Thanks to Jordan Psalms 23-4 for the $1 donation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Um,
You want me to go next?
It's up to you. I can go
got
next.
one more. I got one for you here. All right. This just seems dumb to me and awesome. Let me see if I can make it bigger. I subscribe to these like dumb photos, like crazy history shit or whatever. It says on April 19th, 1995, in an unusual incident, MacArthur Wheeler attempted a bank robbery. While wearing an unconventional disguise, his face smeared with lemon juice. Wheeler believed that lemon juice, often used as invisible ink, would make him invisible. He confidently smiled at the camera as he passed by during the robbery. Unfortunately, lemon juice did not I mean, we're going way back in the well, 1995, but I giggled at that one. Go ahead, Cody. I got one more for you after that.
Yeah, so mine, I don't know how or what leads to this scenario, but I'm pretty sure the roads are iced up.
Oh God!
Yeah. Oh my
So
God,
watch.
what brother?
Oh fuck!
This poor guy.
All these cars are careening out
He's
of
supposed
control.
to do? What's
He's
this
like,
guy supposed to
he's
do?
like, run for
Oh
it.
my
Look at-
God!
Oh my gosh! That dude
dude.
just got saved by that truck, dude.
Yeah,
he was
really
about
did.
to get creamed, bro.
Bro, he had the least ice in all of that.
Oh,
Dude, he's the
That might have
safest.
gotten him.
Oh
No,
my
that
God.
might have gotten him
Who's
on
the
that
ice
one.
up, Cody?
I mean, my ice up is too.
It's not him. He's the fucking
I mean,
goat.
I'm basically saying that the
My ice
roads
up,
are iced up.
my ice up is to the people going 70 miles an hour in ice conditions.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
I
you,
think- why would
fucking
you even
reasonable
out, Why
ass.
were you out of the
Okay.
car? Why were you out of the car at all?
And how is
He
it
was probably
that
trying to tell
slick?
people to stop.
It can't be that slick. What the
Yeah,
fuck
it
is going on? What is slick?
Oh.
Sleet overnight? All right, here's mine.
All right.
All right, this one's a fun one. It's a stupid one. And this is a real ice up pig. It's like you were born for the ice up pigs.
No. Oh God, I can't watch.
Stupid.
Hold on, look at that. He chambers around
Oh
and
no.
then shoots himself. I don't know. What is he trying to show? That his gun has got a not hair trigger? And then shoots himself in the real balls? That's my ice up pick. I'm not
Dude,
even
that
a
one-
gun guy.
Dude,
By
that
the
one-
way, I don't give a fuck about if you have gun rights or not gun rights. Actually, I don't give a shit about any of it. That to me just looks dumb.
You know
Dude,
that what that is?
That would piss me off. Like, why are you even gonna
Piss
do that?
you off.
Yeah, like what?
You're
How
pissed off
stupid.
about a guy shooting himself in his own
Yeah,
balls?
you play stupid
Oh, man.
games. You win stupid fucking prizes.
Right.
dipshit.
Race to
saw
this
that.
show. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Dude, so stupid, man. This one.
CK, that bothered you, didn't it?
Oh God, dude, I couldn't even watch it, bro.
All right,
But
so this
Darwin's
woman,
Oh,
they,
I already think the girl on the right is hot.
but dude,
Too
wait for
much.
it. So
Oh, God.
okay, so the police get called out to this beach, and they got a specific complaint
She's a
about
good
this woman.
Christian.
And now I have a very specific ice up. For
No
this.
ass.
We'll get to it.
She got no ass. Look at her ass is missing. I ain't even looked at it yet.
All right, listen.
Something pertaining on the beach. Yes. Were you supposed to be? Were you doing something you weren't supposed to be doing?
What?
Like, what were you doing on the beach? Like prior to coming here. Prior to coming here.
No comment.
Just wait for it.
There was nobody. I was just sitting on my tail. Nobody was around me.
Okay, and you were over at the beach.
Like I was near the water.
Near the water.
Yeah. Okay. What did I do? What did I do?
So apparently you were masturbating on the beach.
That's it.
Yeah. Well,
Who
hold
saw
up.
that?
Wait for it.
I mean, a couple people.
No, they
families.
didn't. That's not
Then
true.
why would they call us that?
Nobody was around. Was it an anonymous call? Is
Yeah.
this one of my buddies? Okay,
No,
one of my buddies.
No, it's not.
I'm on this girl's
Okay,
side
look, let me.
already.
Let me
Hold on. It gets even better.
Okay.
So
No,
they're
I'm
accusing
on
her
her
of
side.
masturbating on the beach.
I'm on her
Look.
side.
No.
Wait, hold on.
She
wait,
has
wait,
no
wait.
ass. Look, no
Wait,
hips.
wait,
She has
Tony. Here's
no
the part.
hips, bro. Like
Wait,
nobody's
hold on,
gonna
hold
want
on.
to watch her. Okay, continue.
Kristen, I've never heard that. I don't know if this is true. But
Killed her. Oh no,
Okay,
don't
look,
say
let me
that. We can't.
let me show
all
you
right, so hold on. But listen though. Listen to what's said.
what I did.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there
I was-
anything in the bag?
No.
Is it right if I look through it? I mean, if you can open it and can I see the contents inside the bag?
Yes. I don't really understand what y'all are.
We're just here because
Damn, why are they
fucked
fucking
up.
with this bitch?
very concerned.
Leave her be.
This is really
Wait,
highly
listen.
offensive to me.
I got it. I got you. And that's why I'm trying
Me
to
too.
It's my vibrator, but I just put it in my. I was sitting
It's
on
my
the beach,
vibrator.
and I just.
Let her be.
Okay. Do I get a ticket?
So you did have a vibrator.
Listen, I was sitting
See,
on the
I don't
water like
believe any
this,
of
and I
this.
just put it in there, and it was covered up, and I just had an orgasm. I'm
This is
sorry, I was
fake.
stressed out.
So,
Fake.
dude, this
Fake.
is this is
Fake.
real.
Fake.
So this is where she fucked up.
Fake.
One,
This
you
is
are
fake,
not.
bro.
No. Listen, whatever.
Okay.
You are not required at all to help with the investigation from any police. You don't have to let them search your bag. From that point, it's
And
a
there's
he said,
nothing
she
wrong
said.
with masturbating in the
Well,
ocean
no,
where
but
nobody
dude,
can
well,
see
okay,
you.
but
Shut
if
the
there's
fuck
if
up.
there's kids around and shit, fine. But
Come on.
the reason
They
why
were working this investigation
the
harder
reason why
than a
I'm doing it an
goddamn.
ice up is because if it wasn't for her basically opening the bag and admitting to the crime on camera, then she would have never been arrested. They go
She
on,
didn't
they
really
go
kill
on to
herself,
arrest
did
her.
she?
They go on
She
to
did.
arrest her. They
She
go on
killed
to
herself,
like.
CK?
I've
Yeah.
never
That
heard
true?
that.
Did you Google it?
Yeah.
Who is she?
Fucked up, bro.
So
I mean, I was on her side from the
name's
beginning. The only thing
Christina.
I had a problem with is that she didn't have great hips.
So Christina Revels Glick, woman arrested for using vibrator on a Georgia beach, committed suicide 8 months later after downward spiral of drink and drugs.
Bull.
So it's not
Fuck
shit.
that. She
But I didn't know
should.
anything.
I
The
was
only reason- The only reason I made my eyes up is because you are not required to cooperate with police in any type of
I know this ice
investigation.
up melted quickly.
Investigation that you don't have to help them with anything. So
No, you don't gotta help them with anything, and you also don't have to say shit that they. That conversation was so long, Cody. Fuck that. It's not even about just like, oh, what am I doing? They were like, hey, what's your fuck that?
Well,
I
no, but
missed
that's
that woman
why I
already.
asked her up. If the cops come and ask you questions,
I think
you
we
don't have
should-
to capitulate to any of that, or let them search your bag. Come
How
on,
do we
man.
make
You
this
have to know
a
not to do that.
Panthers Sunday? How does Tepper make this a Panthers write off for too
what?
far?
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Like we can make it like remember like solidarity. Like so next week is gonna be Italian Americans, their presence in football.
Dude, we've
Do we
got
have a month?
Let's get the fuck out of here.
Do we have a month
There's
for
not enough to say.
people
There's not
that
enough to say. Let's fucking.
you want to get me
There's
canceled?
not enough to
Get
say.
myself canceled. Let's get the fuck out of here. It's the C3 Panthers podcast. We love you. We love you. And despite the same conversations going on, we still have a familia that is growing. Cody Lash. What I was trying to say is the Panthers better not fucking make a, what is it? What do you call it? Virtue signal after what if they had a masturbating on the beach weekend? Go. Get out of here. Let's go.
Keep pounding.